somewhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 123 for the 14th of November, 2016. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can email us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers, and Twitter is SwineBro666. I am your host, Elliot Lindemood, and to start off the show, we have...
I am the Jim, and I still defecate on everything.
And I'm Eric, and I am looking forward to hearing what they all these events that have happened this week.
And we have to start off with some very sad news, everyone. Jim, your political hopes.
Yeah, I lost.
You did not win the 2016 U.S. presidential election. How does that make you?
I'd like to thank my supporters, all 12 of you. It's been a hard-fought race. I like fried rice, too. And I'm just going to drink away my sorrows.
Good. I don't know who's paying for all the drinks, but I also have to say I've heard the new Metallica album. I have to say it's the best thing they've done since at least Justice, which means it's a little bit better than Death Magnetic, which was the best thing they did. It's somewhat thrashy, somewhat not. It's a mixture. 12 songs in 77 minutes. I don't understand why it's in 70. Well, I don't know why it's on 2 discs, because it can easily fit on 1. I do recommend listening to it when it comes out on November 18th, or downloading it legally on a torrent. Not that I'm recommending it, but just that's what I did. But it's good. James has lost his ability to sing. Lars is mediocre, but the riffs are solid and the solos are not infuriating. So check it out.
Yay.
Now on to the meat of the. So Jim didn't win. Who won, Jim?
That would be the Trump.
Yes, the one and I'll admit we were both wrong.
Oh, yeah. That was an error because I was just so used to seeing political corruption. I thought, well, this ain't going to be any different. Well, apparently people either outvoted the corruption or it wasn't as widespread as I thought it would be. I did see a couple instances here in PA where whenever the polls first opened, someone clicked on Republican and the whole thing switched to Democrat. And that destroyed a couple families because that forced a couple people to admit that they were actually voting for Trump. And that pissed off their families, and they have been since kicked out of their houses.
Wow. Of course, political corruption with political corruption.
Yep. It's everywhere.
Now, I'd like to say before we begin, people have labeled the accusation at us of being Trump supporters because we shit on Hillary.
I voted for fucking Johnson. My second vote would have gone to fucking Stein if he wasn't an option. And then I would have joined the other 12 and become the 13th vote for myself had neither been an option.
See, I kind of like some of Johnson's things, but I thought they were unworkable, and I thought Stein's vice president was too much of a nut job so I can actually vote for him in good consciousness. And I thought, well, I know someone over the age of 35 who's, what the fuck?
Yeah. And there we go. This is how much we supported Trump. Neither of us would have voted for him regardless.
Yes, but people say that because, of course, we drew our attention to Hillary Clinton. Because
my thing is, it was nothing but 2-bit internet hacks that were shitting on her, except for Fox News, which we all know we don't trust Fox News.
Which are 2-bit TV hacks.
Yeah. We don't fucking trust Fox News to begin with. So.
And plus, everyone was shitting on Trump. I mean, you turn on a late-night comedy show with Stephen Colbert, unfunny, or Samantha Bee, very unfunny and annoying.
Saturday Night Live.
Bill Maher. Every fucking Bill Maher show fucking for the entire year has been death to Trump, death to Trump. That's all I fucking hear. It's like, want to go into Hillary's corruption? because we know how shady she is. No one, it was like so few were doing it, so we just said, fine, we'll do this. We did cover some of Trump's bullshit, yes, but we went over a lot of Hillary's because, well, all we hear, he was such an easy target because everyone was doing it.
Yep.
Why jump on the bandwagon here? Let's go after someone else here for a change.
Yeah, that's part of our kind of, I don't want to say different for the, but it's part of our spirit. I don't want to go after the easy target because, taking the easy way out. But I did mention Trump's scumbaggery. I did mention who his supporters are, who he's lining himself up with, regardless of how he believes. Who he's lining himself up with is scary. His supporters are scary. His daughter's scary.
Yes, the people surrounding him are scary. Some of his supporters are scary. Most are like just average Joes who gives a shit. But then you got that radical branch that are fucking God. And then you look at his choice as vice president. I'm sitting there thinking, this is probably assassination insurance.
Yeah.
Because any assassin has to sit there and say, if I kill Trump, then he becomes president. Do I want that guy as president? No, that's even worse.
We'll get to the articles in a minute, but I do kind of want to iron this stuff out just for everyone who's wondering. Yeah, do I want? Yeah. Well, hey, why don't you kill both with one bullet? God, I've lost my train of thought now. Jim's got me thinking about murder.
Yes, and suggesting assassination on an open airwave, you fucking bastard.
That was Jim who said that, not me. Although,
hey, I don't suggest assassination. I want to see how this plays out.
True.
Because I just want something different to shit on. Because how much of this past year has been, God, fucking the left has dominated the idiocy market for how long?
Wait.
And I miss shitting on the left as frequently as I once did.
Before I lose my train of thought, which will happen in about 2 seconds, people who say Trump's vote is for racism, people who vote for Trump are racists or are, everyone who votes for Trump is a racist. That is not true. People voted for Trump as a reaction to what they see going. I'm not saying it was the right reaction, but it was a reaction to a lot of things. One is political correctness. The other is the media. If the media, Trump is viewed wrongly as an outsider. He's viewed as an outsider. He's viewed as someone who isn't part of the political system. So the media shits on him. That's one cigarette, although he's had more. That's the first rolled cigarette. The media shits on him. Well, that must be because he's an outsider and a maverick. He says what he thinks, or at least what we think he thinks.
I still say there's a 50-50 shot where he's going. At first, I put that rate higher. This is where I was wrong until he actually made his acceptance speech, in which he actually toned back the rhetoric a shit ton. I was like, well, there's actually a 50% shot he might not say anything to get us nuked.
We'll see.
I used to put it at like 85, 75, 85%, but now it's 10. It's still a decent chunk. It's all we'll see, because now there's uncertainty, where with Hillary, we knew we were getting World War III.
I don't hold out any hope. I think that was more of a fluke than anything else. But Trump is kind of swinging back to the left. We'll get into more of that in a second, but we should dive into these articles because it's only been 10 minutes of...
Us fucking sitting here saying we were wrong, and we actually like the fact we were, even though the wrong person got the nod. Fuck it.
Yes, Jim should have been president. Yes, we were wrong, and we admit it. So you can never say we don't admit being wrong. So let us start. Where are we going to start today?
We're going to start with a metal article.
Right. This came from one of our apparent listeners.
Yes.
Dude from the Metalgate Facebook page who I've talked to a couple times. I don't remember his name. I think he calls himself Hell Raven or something. But
Yeah, or something along those lines. Pretty cool guy if he's the one I think he is.
he used to run Servile Insurrection.
Yeah,
So,
and now it's brutal sedition.
yes. So what does this? He actually emailed this to me personally. It was probably a bulk email, but still, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Metal journalists cry angry tears over Donald Trump's victory.
Oh God, I was watching Shane Mathis on, our good friend Jim Shane Mathis.
Oh my God. Just go to that Twitter feed. Anything right after the election on, just go for it. It's beautiful. Zero concept of reality.
Shane and Blood on Twitter. Go there, everyone.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, I don't like Trump. No, it's not because he's racist or anything like that. Those are bullshit non-arguments. I don't like Trump because he's going to expand the size of the government like so many other presidents before him. Yes, Trump is further left than Hillary.
Yes, we should
That's my
decrease.
statement there because I've actually studied the man, and yeah, he is.
See, I'm not really for decreasing government, and I'm not for increasing it in certain aspects. Because if you decrease it, then you have, anarchism, and anarchy can't work.
Anarchy doesn't work. I sat there toting the anarchist banner before I realized there's too many idiots in the world for it to actually work.
I think I kind of met you on the tail end of the anarchists because you were still kind of touting it when we first met.
No. I had long since killed that. I killed that in my mid-20s when I was like, fuck, what? Oh, wow. Yeah, they are idiotic. Oh,
Yes,
there goes that fucking utopian dream. I guess all utopia is bullshit.
Communism is also.
Uh-huh. Personally, I want a man like Ron Paul, but I know that will never happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust Ron Paul with a sandwich. He's actually Ron Paul. If you want to talk about someone who's actually slightly racist, not Trump style, but actually, Ron Paul is actually, from what I've heard, a legitimate case for that. But Scott won't hear a bad word said about him.
Yeah,
Scott's a tool.
everyone's a tool.
Yes.
And I do not exclude myself from that statement.
I don't exclude myself. I'm a tool.
However, Trump was still a far better choice for president than a woman who wanted to take everyone's guns away through mandatory buyback programs and continue the disastrous foreign policy. You see, the fucking take guns away, I've seen arguments on both sides of that. But the one thing that we do know, continue the disastrous foreign policy she had started back when she was Secretary of State.
I'd just like to point out that all of the gun laws in Obama's administration have actually expanded gun rights. And I've seen, she wouldn't try to take our guns away. That's such a bullshit argument.
No, what we should do is just legalize private ownership of nuclear weapons.
No, you know what we should do is just give everyone a gun.
Yes.
Not to fight crime. Just give
Just
everyone
to have it.
Yes, and give
That way everyone's got to weigh the possibility that the person that they're going to shoot will fight back. Is this worth it?
No, I'm not talking about that. I just want to see a lot of people dying.
Well, there's that too. Guns for the poor. That's a socialist program I can definitely get behind. Guns for the poor.
Reality, I think people should be vetted before they have, get guns and shit, because Crazy Louie.
Yep, we have that. What's funny is that Democrats could have easily beaten Trump if they had pretty much anyone else as their candidate. Hell, even a plank of wood could have beaten him. This is true. I would have voted for a plank of wood. After all, I supported Patsy Mink for her run in 2002. She was dead then, and a corpse does a better job at politics than anyone else.
She was dead then. She's actually gotten up now.
And she was actually voted in.
Good.
I supported her run.
My dad was talking about, I guess, a bill endorsed by Bernie Sanders didn't pass. So he says, well, how do you know that Bernie Sanders would win if the bill he endorsed didn't pass? And my argument was, that's a bill. I don't know that Sanders would have won because had no faith in it, but I don't know if he would have won if he would have won the nomination.
Yeah, who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, and I don't like living in the, well, if only we had this person, because it's just, well, you know what? You didn't, okay? You didn't, and it didn't happen.
And now he's got a nice little picture supporting Plank of Wood for 2020. No, support me. That's my run. I'm going.
Yes, support Jim in 20. We are going to start the Party of Utter Contempt, the official party of Swine Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be the official propaganda wing for this political party. I will find out how to start a party, and I will raise the money, and we will actually start a party.
Fuck, we'll just fucking go to Patriot, get it. Support the Utter Contempt party. if you think all politicians are full of shit, let's get someone who just rolls with it.
Yes.
And decides to shit on them himself.
It can't be that expensive to start a political party.
It's not expensive at all. You could just say, hey, I'm on this party, and they have to recognize it pretty much.
All right.
I mean,
I do
you
think
have to have a certain amount of followers, yes, but
I think you need, as far as I understand it, if you're running for a party like DNC, you need their nomination. Basically, you need permission.
No, we're not talking about running a party. We're talking about starting a party. I don't give a shit about.
This is what I'm saying. If you were to, so like I was to try and become an MP for Labour, I was to try and run for Labour, I'd need Labour's permission to say I'm running for them on the ballot. To start your own party is relatively simple. You just need to apply usually to the sort of like the commission sort of branch of the government, the kind of like the people who set the agenda for the parliament itself. And I think you pay a small nominal fine, fee really would be the better word. And once you pay this fee, you're registered to them as a party.
And
you don't actually have to run though for a party though either.
That's true. Sorry. We'll see how we do it in the States, because we actually want to get this off the ground and start the Party of Utter Contempt. By the way, greetings, Ches.
Thank you. Sorry, I forgot it was Monday.
I didn't, because I have no life.
Yes, we all have that.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah, you just missed the first cigarette. Anyways, of course, that didn't happen. Instead, the DNC insisted on going with an extremely unpopular establishment candidate.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton was so hated by even her own party that she had to cheat in order to beat a 70-something-year-old Doc Brown-looking socialist. Yep.
I debate that Bernie Sanders is a socialist thing, but, whatever.
Yeah. However, cheaters never win in the long run, and Donald Trump proved that by beating her in the presidential race.
Cheaters never win in the long run. Dude, Trump.
You know how we were all pretty sure from the evidence that Trump's run for Republicans was really just to try and take the competition away from Hillary.
That kind of backfired.
Well, no, I'm starting to wonder if it didn't actually backfire and we've all just been double bluffed. And Hillary Clinton standing for the DNC was to actually backdoor the Republicans in. Because one thing parties will do is they will try and screw over the other party to get him to gain power. The typical one to bring up was when Maggie Thatcher left, and obviously Norman Major took over. The next general election, Norman Major didn't really spend anything on his campaign, and there was this very famous thing of him just standing on a soapbox talking. and he was a really boring guy. Always seemed to be portrayed on the TV in grey, and amidst a background of grey. And he won. He won the election, right? And the reason why they would try not to win the election was because of simply the whole recession they knew was coming. And I think that's really why.
It works slightly different here because you have because it doesn't work because you have the presidency, but then you also have the more meaningful things such as Senate and
House.
Yes,
but unfortunately, America doesn't really think much. The general average voter doesn't really think much about who their actual senator and stuff are. They just think of the person at the top of the party. Just like people here don't really think about their member of parliament. They're thinking about Tony Blair or Ed Miliband or David Cameron.
At least
you know what, Chaz, I gotta say that is an argument. The double bluff argument is something that actually should be considered. Because I sit there and I look at, President Obama's reaction to 2 or 3 different things that were happening on college campuses. And even he was saying, dude, you don't fucking just sit there and ban people. You debate them. That's what we do. Even though he only did it a couple times, maybe
there was
they realized we gone and
where
fucked
there was a Trump supporter at one of his rallies who stood up making a bunch of noise and waving a Trump 2016 sign, and these people were all like boo, and Obama still had the guy removed from the room, but he was like, no, the guy has his right to protest. Freedom of speech is a big thing.
We're just gonna take him out of the room. I have a transcript of Hillary Clinton's concession speech, Chaz. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, go on.
At least I tried.
I don't think she did. I mean, because if you think about it, the news seemed to try and make neither candidate sound good, but Trump was the vote that was for something, yeah? And there's a lot of people I know who don't really know anything about politics. I don't really give a shit about politics. Probably didn't vote in the last few elections. But now they've got a hate figure and they've got a hero. They're winding themselves down. And, it was a reality TV star. So it's somebody they had seen before. Like they only know of Hillary Hitler because she was on the fucking TV before, but they didn't have a clue Bernie Sanders was.
By the way, really quick, and then we'll get back. If you'd like to know what my reference was, I suggest you watch the first season of Newsoids.
Watch both seasons of Newsoids.
Yes, okay, both seasons.
British public need your money now more than ever.
So does the American public, apparently. Jim.
Just as I predicted, social justice media journalists were absolutely livid about the results.
I didn't share this in the link bin because it was a little annoying, but it was funny. Loudwire had a compilation of rockers reacting to Trump's victory the day after, and Corey Taylor is very sad. Fuck Corey Taylor.
Let's start off with Kim Kelly.
Oh, yeah, Kim Kelly. Yeah.
Just so you know, she was the same woman who tried to demonize Dragon Force based on lyrics some of the members wrote 20 years ago.
Well, yes. Okay, so let me explain. Dragon Force, before they were Dragon Force, had a band called Demoniac, who started life as a pretty good black metal band. They went to a black and power metal band. No, that doesn't work. I mean, it works like Satan's Host, but it was basically, kind of flower metal, Jim. Flower metal is the really happy guitars with blackened vocals. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
And their lyrics were all about Hitler metal and Heil this with an Asian member. So it's tongue-in-cheek. And yet Kim Kelly, I couldn't get over these lyrics. She also interviewed Ryan from Intestinal Discourage, but weirdly enough wasn't offended by this, by the lyrics such as women the other white meat or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kim. Although I have gotten some good music recommendations from her.
Honestly, fuck you, America. So this is who we really are. This is misery. My British boyfriend and I used to joke about switching teams if either of our countries went to other shit. Jokes on both of us. We have entered a new dark age. I wasn't going to drink tonight, but then the country of my birth elected an actual fascist to govern us. Whiskey's all that makes sense now.
I really wish Trump was what he packaged himself as, just because. But he's so not. Granted, I'll say it again. His team scares me. His support, both some of his supporters, Don Black from Stormfront and David Duke, but Trump himself is whatever the situation calls for.
He's about making money. We know that.
Or he's too senile to understand what he's saying. Don't rule out senility. He is 70 years old.
2 years ago, Kim Kelly was acting all smug, claiming that she and her friends were on the right side of history. The moment you think yourself on the right side of history is whenever you know you've gone and fucked up.
That's probably what Hitler thought.
Yeah, he was on the right side of history, too.
It's probably exactly what Hitler thought. I am on the right side of history. Oh,
Fucking listen to the Nuremberg
Yeah, the
trial.
far right.
Well, read up on the fucking Nuremberg trials to see how much they thought they were on the right side
especially
of history.
Hermann Goring. He is very quotable.
Mm-hmm.
Very quotable.
She honestly believed the metal scene and the rest of the world would submit to social justice. She never expected that a backlash like this would occur. She didn't realize that Donald Trump's victory represents a complete and total rejection of the ideology she had spent years trying to force onto the metal scene.
It does, but it won't stop them. I remember reading on Metalgate. It might be them. Might be the guy, Hijiri, whatever his name is, talking about how this is a rejection of the, and it ends here. And I was like, dude, it's not going to stop, especially if shit goes completely the other way and Pence gets his way and they really do start deporting people. I'm not saying they will, but if they do, it's going to go completely the other way, and then you'll have anti-social justice, or but the movement ain't going to stop just because they're not in power anymore. Now they're going to be the underdog. Now they're going to be the look at us, we're the underdog. People don't think, do they?
She doesn't realize that her and her friends have abused the word fascist to the point where it basically means anyone who isn't as crazy as fuck as we are.
Oh, come on. That's in the 60s and 70s. You hear every teenage... Jim, what do you say if you're... Well, okay, you don't know because you had a fucked up childhood. But what do you say if your daddy won't let you stay out till midnight when you're 16? Daddy's
I just
a
go out.
fascist. No, stop.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was going to say what I actually did was fucking just walk out and say, fuck you.
I know, but if you're not like that, what do you say? Why are you so fascist, man? What do you say when your mom tells you you can't watch TV until you do your homework? I never did it, but homework.
This means that when actual fascists come along, such as a few members of the alt-right, not the entirety of it, just a few, yes, I've seen them, and that few tend to be the most vocal.
Yes, but there's mostly slimy characters in the alt-right, to be fair.
Yeah, mostly, but fuck it. Those that are willing to debate are worthwhile. Those that are not, fuck them.
Well, those that are willing to debate haven't come on my show yet, so I haven't seen proof of their existence.
I have, because I've gotten into a few interesting discussions with a couple here and there in comment sections.
Good for you, Jimbo.
Ordinary people don't take the left's cries of fascists seriously. It's a classic case of the boy or girl, depending upon the situation, who cried wolf.
I cried wolf. Actually, I know a guy named Wolf. Okay, Wolf, but still. I always thought that was the coolest name. You know, I don't like the guy personally, but you know the coolest name that's ever existed? Wolf Blitzer. I mean, doesn't that sound like some sort of heavy metal guy? And on vocals, Wolf Blitzer.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Or even better, some sort of like Iron Maiden band or whatever, some sort of speed metal. Yes.
Yeah.
I still like the fact that the head of security for the White House is called Randy Bumgardner. Which sounds like the name of somebody in some sort of British gay porn film.
I'm Randy Bumgardner. Wait,
Yeah.
you mean Chadwell Almighty? Is that your porn name, Chad?
Don't tell them.
Next, we have some tweets from our good friend and adoring fan, Shane Mathis.
The human colostomy bag himself. I actually follow him on Twitter just for the...
Just to laugh.
Yeah, the human colostomy bag himself. I love that guy, and apparently he loves me too. But Shane, what do you have to say for yourselves?
You may remember him as the faggot who angrily demanded that the metal scene stop using the word faggot. Does he even suck a cock? I wonder.
Yes, that's what I remember. That was the first Sargon video I saw.
Yeah.
The problem with metal is Metalhead's video. That was after speaking to him. I was like, I gotta look this guy up. And
yep, that's when you said, "Oh shit, this guy is as pathetic as it looks."
well, because I knew he did an interview with Scott. I still haven't seen or read it.
Normally, he acts like an insufferable, smug faggot.
Yes.
But here he's acting like an extremely angry faggot.
Yes. No, actually, he doesn't really come across as angry. He just sounds like he's about to cry.
Yes. Half this goddamn country would rather wreck everything, including the world economy, because they don't like people of color.
Oh my god.
That's fucking complete detachment from it.
And I saw that tweet too, and I hate replying to Shane's tweet because it's only 140 characters. I can't say what I want to say.
I don't know. Wanker doesn't take up many characters, and
Yeah, but
you are a massive. I don't think quite breaks the 140 barrier.
oh well, if I can, yeah, but still, I'm not good at you know me, Joe. I'm not good at shortening my rants.
Yes.
So I'm trying to.
I mean, you could probably put something like, you are an absolutely stupid fucking massive wanker.
Yeah, that's what I say, but I want to tell him why he is, and I can't do that. So that's why I hate Twitter.
I think he knows why.
Knowing what I know about Shane, I don't. I think he's just too deluded. Once again, he's actually giving me some good music recommendations, but I don't call him the human colostomy bag for no reason. But yeah, I'm not good at shortening my rants, so it's really hard to what do I want to say to this? So it just comes off as childish. I'm like, I'm trying to put words together here, fucker.
This is why your racist relative doesn't deserve empathy or understanding.
My racist relative is dead, actually.
Oh, my racist friends actually stopped being racist because I showed them empathy and understanding. That is the inverse of what you want. You want them to stop being racist, you show them empathy and understanding. And then you debate their points on a ground where you give equal weight to their bullshit as you do your rebuttals. It shows that you're willing to consider them as human beings.
Because if you don't do that, then they will feel persecuted or dig more into their ideology that they already have by showing them when you got married. You said that when you got married.
Yeah, a guy with fucking Hitler tattoos coating both his arms came to my fucking wedding ceremony. I'm marrying a black chick, and we already had one kid together, and he's there at this. And the judge even looked at him like, why the fuck are you here with this? She couldn't comprehend how this guy who had been before her on racial intimidation charges, racial this, racial that, was now in support of a biracial wedding.
and he was saying, well, when you started, he was like, oh, you're not going to change. When we started thinking this stuff, you're still our friend. It wasn't a total. It wasn't. You weren't shunning them for their beliefs or whatever.
No, I wasn't showing them for their beliefs. I said your beliefs are idiotic.
Yeah.
This is why. But hey, here's a beer. Because they were decent people. It's just they had ideas that were idiotic. So I point out the idiocy and I give them a beer.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
but because their beliefs are dangerous. These are bad people. Fuck them.
Yeah,
In Shane's words.
and then of course they dive more into it. And then you see them in 50 years or 20 years, or whatever, in prison for life.
Yeah, and that's fucking the whole point. There is the persecution complex validates the fucking belief. They know that they're going to be scorned. It's whenever they're not scorned, they start to bring things into question. It's the same thing with any fucking cult. You're going to be rejected because blah 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 blah. Fucking drink the fucking Flavorade.
Right. Yes, drink the Flavorade. I mean, I've had conversations with this about punks who say, "Oh, races, they're beyond help," and I'm like, even if you think they're beyond help, try it anyway. Because even if you don't succeed, at least they know that, hey, look, you're still willing to be our friend. That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
you had no grand ambitions of succeeding.
This right here, it's like fucking even the fucking neo-Nazis I knew back in the day, they had provisions for what they called, quote-unquote, the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
They were willing to make concessions, realizing that even though they said openly, all fucking blacks must die, they said, but there's a couple good ones we want to put off to the side here because they actually work for a living.
But
They were willing to make that one, the entire ideology is fucking bullshit, but they were willing to budge one bit. Yet this whole entire, shun these people, don't even talk to them because they're racist bigots, they're not worth your time. You're not giving any concession to anyone that has even a 0.0001% deviation from your party line.
But did you also proselytize to them or preach to them? Or did you have any hope that you would, or did you just debate them because it was violent?
I personally had hope that I could change them, but I ceded the fact that they probably never will, because humans are human, and I knew what they were basing their judgments off of. I mean, one of them in particular, my buddy Jeff, he was basing it off of anecdotal evidence, which is what he personally experienced. Whenever he was in fucking middle school and in high school, all these fucking black kids bullied the living fuck out of him, spit on him, hit him with shit, and the school did nothing because the school didn't want to be labeled racist, because they had already had that allegation level at them before, and it caused a bunch of legal drama. That cost the school board money, and they didn't want to spend the money on defense again.
So, oh God, Shane, you don't get it, and you never will.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other?
If you know one of those idiot Democrats who donated to the North Carolina GOP, now would be a good time to punch them. I hope every one of you fuckers who stood up for a bigot Trump voter because they're a friend or family feel real good about yourselves. Wow, way to celebrate the democratic process right there.
I'm going to make a call here, and I'm going to take any repercussions. This is me saying this, so you're off the hook. If you know Shane Mathis, it's a good time to beat the shit out of him.
And here's
that's me saying this. Jim did not say this. I said it. Anyway.
And I have to say that in my own household, my mother voted Trump. My aunt voted Hillary. I voted Johnson. And guess what? We're still on speaking terms. We're still, the same fucking fucked up group of people we are.
Yes, I've heard stories.
But, it didn't change anything. It was just a difference in politics, which everyone's got different politics. They base it off of different metrics. You know, and you have to realize that's just part of humanity. You are going to differ in opinion, especially when it comes to politics.
Yes, but he's afraid because he's drank too much of the Kool-Aid.
Or that has become too addicted to being the voice in power. And now it's like, oh my God, I'm not in power anymore. I must defend power. Fuck you.
Yes, Shane Mathis is a cancer.
Third parties didn't cause this. Our racist piece of shit friends and relatives did.
Well, I agree that third parties didn't cause this, and anyone wants to blame it on third parties is full of shit. Except for, they stopped fucking the world, Pennsylvania. That was beautiful. Because everyone thought
it was in the bag for Hillary until the farmer votes came in. And I actually sat there all night. I was hanging out with fucking Danamund, and we're sitting there cuddling, and I'm looking at it, it's like, holy shit, PA's changing. The farmer votes are coming in. Holy shit, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
this went from a solid blue victory to a solid red confirmed, 100% finalized, you know, right after the day after. Just like, fuck, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
that was just glorious to see so many farmers say, fuck you everything. We don't give a shit anymore. You can all just fucking rot, you political cessbag known as Washington.
Yes, we had a kind of an all-night political commentary thing on the Swine Brothers chat, and it was just funny. Jim was giving me updates, and it was like, oh my God. And then once he won, it was like, I was kind of a disbelief. I was like, wait, what the
Yeah, none of us could fucking believe he won because we've become so used to seeing corrupt politics play out as corrupt as always.
Yep.
and to see that now we're just going to have a different breed of corruption than what we've fucking had since I've been born.
Yeah.
Both the left and the right are fucking guilty of the same bullshit. Now we got something different in charge, and we got to see if it's going to be more the same old or not, but you know,
it'll definitely be bad.
Mm-hmm. But which brand of bad? That's the question.
We'll be right here to catalog it.
Big talk from a white guy who's not going to be affected by Trump's insane racist piece of shit.
That was a retweet. That was a reply that I had to. Ugh.
And the retweet was of someone saying, Hillary wouldn't have fixed your problems. That's what the piece of shit comment was in reply
yes,
to.
I know. I favorited the Hillary wouldn't have fixed your problems tweet thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
that. So thank you, Human Colostomy Bag. That was entertainment.
Yes, Shane Mathis. You know, I kind of don't want him to be, curb stomped to death because he's entertaining. Plus, I'll go to jail for inciting riot if I say I want him to be curb stomped to death.
Hey, faggot, do you understand why Donald Trump won in the first place?
No.
It's because of the tactic of repeatedly calling him and his supporters bigoted and racist and sexist didn't work. Social justice warriors such as yourself have abused words such as racist and sexist and homophobic to the point of meaninglessness. Yes, we can't even fucking call it out. I fucking always, even whenever fucking I was talking to Danamund, she's like, this guy's a fucking sexist. And now I was like, give me proof.
Yeah.
And like it, just because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I could not. I needed the fucking physical proof. And once I had the physical proof, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's a sexist fucking moron. Shit on him.
Exactly.
But like, that's how meaningless it is. You know, you call someone sexist, they shrug their shoulders now. You fucked it up.
Well, yeah, look at the names I get called every day of my life. as you've heard.
Or say.
Or say. Yeah, but you're saying it just to be an asshole. There are actually people who mean it when they say I'm apparently a Trump supporter.
Oh God. Those words no longer have any power, and you and all your friends have your heads too far up your own asses to realize this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now here's a tweet from Shane Mathis's faggot friends.
Shane Mathis's faggot friends.
From Dean Brown. Brexit was based on xenophobia. In today's America, prevailing cry is one of hatred, bigotry, and xenophobia. I'm sickened. Boo-hoo.
Stop whining.
First of all, repeatedly calling things xenophobic is not an argument, especially with the way you've abused the term to mean anyone who disagrees with me. Anyone who disagrees with me is now xenophobic, racist, sexist, and all this shit. So, obviously, the word has lost any validity when you say it.
Yes.
Secondly, the people of Great Britain voted to leave the EU because they were sick and tired of being ruled over by a small group of out-of-touch, unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats from Brussels.
And the right-wing and the right-wing demagoguery starts now.
I just want to point out that the British public voted to leave because most of them are fucking idiots who think that something which is actually more democratic than their sovereign government
This guy
is less democratic than the sovereign government.
Yeah, this guy is his own slant, which is right-wing, and, I tend to just kind of ignore his...
You mean he's deluded like all of the other people who voted for Brexit
Now,
were?
stop. You're
making the same exact argument that the fucking SJWs made about the fucking anti-Trump movement. The point that there are people that I've seen that voted for Brexit simply because the politicians they hated were in favor of staying.
Oh, well, it's not...
That's not a good reason.
It's not a good reason, but it's not a fucking completely idiotic one because, hey, wait a minute. If Hillary Clinton was in support of fucking staying, which she was, and we know how corrupt she is, which we've seen countless releases how
I'm
corrupt
not saying
she
she's
is.
corrupt.
Okay, wait.
Then maybe...
But you can't really apply guilt by association.
Wait, kids.
Yes, you can.
Kids.
But you can't make a solid case out of it.
Kids. My argument isn't that. My argument is saying someone's deluded. Is that kind of a deluded view? Maybe, but I would never use the word because then you're just playing name calling, and I don't like that kind of thing in politics. A lot of people voted for the EU.
I want to point out what I'm saying is that the average everyday voter that voted for Brexit, which makes up the majority of Brexit voters, were average day people, and they had been misled by a bunch of lies and rhetoric. They were deluded in that regard. I'm not saying they were mentally incapable. They somebody deluded them. They didn't delude themselves.
I think they deluded themselves as well because they're too lazy to look it up. They vote. And I think a lot of the people were voting as kind of a, what the hell, let's have some fun, it won't win. Oh my god, it won, what the hell.
Well, unfortunately, cognitive dissonance would kind of mean if you're already being filled with a narrative and a rhetoric, anything that challenges that narrative or rhetoric, even if it's not fully disagreeing, it's just saying that they're taking what they can claim too far. I can hold up a set of car keys and claim that I own a car. Yeah, that's what I can claim, holding up a set of car keys. I can't claim that it's a red Ferrari simply from holding up a set of car keys.
You can claim whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to believe you, but you can claim it.
Yeah, no, but I only have the ability to claim this is evidence that I own a car. I can't say this is evidence that I own a Porsche 911 that's green. I just have to accept that you own a car, not that it's a green Porsche. From seeing a set of
cars. Actually, you can't even claim because the way I work, maybe it's your friend's car, maybe you stole it. But my point is that I think both sides are wrong. Both the name calling is wrong, and
oh yeah, that was just using an analogy as how say you might be green, but you don't quite agree to their level.
You have to remember, this guy has an agenda. Whether he claims it or not, he does have his own political agenda, as everyone does, except for maybe me, because I just don't give a shit. But Yeah,
Well,
that's
not
not like,
giving a shit is your political agenda.
Jim, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I recently had an argument with some fucking Brexiter who's like, they're all unelected officials. And I went, who? The MEPs? Tell me, how did Nigel Farage become an MEP? He was elected. Who by? The British public. And I went, oh, funny that. And he goes, yeah, but the commission's not elected. You can't remove them any time. I went, no, but your elected MEP can, if he has the support of the other MEPs. Parliament isn't a way of you getting your will. The whole point of the European Parliament is to deal with the affairs of Europe, not to just deal with the affairs of one member state over Europe.
Yes, well, people don't do research. People would read. People.
I
see,
know. He
People
didn't
see
even realise that
European
in 1999, the European Parliament actually pushed in the resignation of the EU Commission, and a new commission was elected. They're essentially the House of Lords.
People think European Union. They do a tiny bit of research and they think communism. That's what. Anyway.
Well, they hear this rhetoric, don't they? That the EU's just an evil force that's coming out to make them abide by silly laws.
I don't know what this guy's heard because I believe he lives in America now. I don't know.
He would have probably heard this rhetoric. It has been very, very big. These lies and these manipulations have been very, very big in the mainstream media. I mean, it's been going on from the Sun. The Daily Mail is the biggest, and the Express probably the worst ones for it. But there has all been these claims that we have to follow some of these laws which actually don't. And all it is that they've proposed to decide whether or not that should be a law.
Well, it's the same thing when people hate the UN. Anyway, we've shat on this guy's one sentence long enough, Jim.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. People have seen so much fucking political bullshit that they will vote simply just to reject what is the norm.
Yes, even though it's already fucking the I don't think they can actually implement the EU thing, but it started fucking the British up already since, the pound skyrocketed and people, communism. You make your own bed, you got to sleep in it.
Yay. Likewise, the American people voted for Trump because they had grown sick and tired of Obama's policies.
So you're just going to continue them. He's already said he won't repeal Obamacare.
Not entirely. I don't know exactly.
No, he said he's not going to.
And that they knew that Hillary would be more of the same.
And Trump's going to be more of the same, if not even worse. I mean,
yeah, you would understand this if you didn't spend all your time in a social justice echo chamber.
Looks like he's been spending all his time in a neocon echo chamber or something. I don't know. Maybe the guy listens to alternative opinions. I don't personally know. Because I can't remember who the hell it is. I know I've talked to him, but
If that's who I think it is, yes, he is extremely fucking conservative. But he's got good taste in music, and he does make some good points.
Yes, but he should probably look around just a little
And by good, I mean they're at least debatable if I don't agree with them. And, there's the few that I do agree with, so fuck it.
Yes.
Debatable is better than, complete railroading, which is what the left has been doing past few years.
He was on the Middlegate show that I was on, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was or not. I don't think so.
Yes, if you're on the show, comment your real name or whatever name you use in Middlegate so we could identify you, please.
Yeah. Here's a tweet from Beth Weingarner, the woman who wrote the article that started the trend of metal journalism sites spending more time writing about social justice than metal. Clinton's loss, unlikability. A problem that reminds me so much of Ellen Powell trial. Strong, assertive, accomplished women aren't yet embraced.
Strong, assertive, accomplished women. Hillary Clinton's none of those. By the way, speaking of strong, assertive, accomplished women, Amy Rubin won her second Trans Am racing title. this weekend. Second in a row. Good for her. See, that I embrace, much more so than Hillary Clinton.
Actually, the real reason why the American people...
Hillary Hitlerin. Call her what she is.
No, stop. No Hillary on the show, or Killary.
Hillary Hitlerin. Hillary Hitlerin.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Chaz. I heard somebody describe themselves as a Hitlerian Nazi. I was like, well, as opposed to what, a Stalinian Nazi?
What the fuck?
I mean, I understand not all Nazis and right-wing groups agree with Hitler, but still, a Hitlerian Nazi, it's like, okay, you could be a Maoist or a Stalinist because there's different branches, but Hitler was the only real Nazi government.
Yes. Actually, the real reason why the American people rejected Hillary Clinton is because she is corrupt, warmongering, pathological, a liar, who manipulated national security on countless occasions.
So we're going to pick Trump, who's a saint.
Yay.
See, I like this. He's shitting on Hillary, so now I have to shit on Trump.
Yes.
It's forcing me to go completely the other way, and I admit it, but it's like, he's finally doing our job, so we have to do
the counterbalancing.
Yeah, it's like Jeremy Clarkson saying the BBC. It has to be a balanced program, so I'd have them all shot. Frankly, I'd shoot them all.
Yeah, he said, well, the BBC has to show balance, so I take them outside and shoot them in front of their families.
Yes, about strikers.
Yeah, the teachers' strike.
And people got so butthurt by that.
Oh, of course.
I also like his thing about trains. How, look, if Johnny Suicide wants to jump in front of a train, can replace the driver, clean off all the the big bits, and let's keep going, guys. People gotta get places.
Have you ever noticed how these social justice warriors assume that women can do no wrong? If a woman does something bad, they'll give her a pass simply because she's a woman?
I'll ask this question again, because I've asked it. If you're a Hillary supporter, and if you're voting for Hillary because she's a woman, comment on this and tell me, what would you do in 2012 if Sarah Palin or Michelle Bachmann were the Republican votes? Who would you vote for? Tell me.
Do you know what they should have done? You should have all agreed as a nation and as a thing. Like, the thing should have been, we've got to vote Hillary to keep out Trump. We've got to vote Trump to keep out Hillary. What you really should have all done is gone, no, fuck all of this. How about, rather than Trump versus Hillary, we this time make it Jill Stein versus Gary Johnson. We all agree no one's voting for Trump, no one's voting for Hillary, apart from Trump and apart from Hillary.
Yeah, because they don't like Steiner Johnson either.
No, but I mean, come on. It would have been much better than what's in there at the moment.
No, Chaz.
Come on. The Republicans and the DNC quite clearly...
How about this?
...can't be a bipartisan system anymore. They've kind of forgot themselves. So they kind of need a time to reflect and check themselves.
I have a better plan.
That's what you should do. Next time, if they do the same thing, if it's the shiniest of two turds again, vote between the two major third-party candidates.
No, check out that third, because I didn't like any of the major third-party candidates. How about this? Vermin Supreme versus the Gym.
Yes, that is where it should go.
Do you know what you should do?
I would gladly debate Vermin Supreme. He can have his happy little ponies and sound all happy all he wants, and I could be like, you gone fucked up, you are all useless sacks of shit.
If you didn't have to be born in America... If you didn't have to be born in America, it would be the idea. If you weren't born in America, if you didn't have to be, you should vote between which Truckle brother you want.
No, Vermin Supreme and the Gym.
Yes, we'll see who gets the most votes then. The guy that says free ponies and dental care, or me who calls you all useless sacks of shit. Including myself.
That is what I want in 2020. Forget Chaz's plan that'll actually fix something, because I don't care about. See, Chaz doesn't get. I don't care about fixing the world any longer. I just want to see it burn.
I tell you what you do. You actually make it law that you get to be president for 8 years, but then after that you'll be murdered.
No, well, actually, Chaz, have you seen pictures of like Obama and Bush after they already look dead?
Maybe behind the
I've
eyes.
already proposed that bill where everyone that's leaving. This is why I want term limits on top of anyone leaving having to be executed.
1 turn limit, and you get hung in the square.
Exactly.
So everyone vote Jim and Vermin Supreme on 2020.
No, that's the debate. He's happy and hope.
Could you literally imagine if the Jim did become president in 2020? I expect my own American citizenship, motherfucker.
There you go.
Well, I have no problems with nepotism. Can't stop it. Might as well join it.
No, I've had no problems with nepotism. I've been bugging Jim to get a.
How about this? I asked the UK for you to be an ambassador.
Apparently,
Well,
I'm in
that
charge
was going
of.
to come anyway, but I want also to be given my own American citizenship, and I want a house in America where I can own a gun.
Apparently, I'm in
There you
charge
go.
of the disabled. Apparently, I get the ship job. I'm in charge of the disabled. I got to decide what to do with the disabled.
We'll buy you a nice block of showers.
And we went there. And we went there. All right. Well,
Choo choo! That's how we go there.
Gonna ride that train straight to the end of the line.
all right. Now that we've sunk to a whole.
Auschwitz.
Now that we've sunk to a new level.
And frankly, I did not see them coming.
And,
Okay. We've already secured our place in hell from episode 1.
and I know. Well, yeah. Whatever the hell.
Oh, if you're going to hell, go in style.
Okay, so
Exactly.
now that we've done that, here's our common dot. Sir Jim.
Blatant double standards like these are hallmark of social justice. Here is a tweet from Robert Pastbany, co-owner of Metal Injection.
Yeah, metal.
Congratulations to fear-mongering for all the big wins last night. Thank you, fear-mongering, for electing Trump president. We were so afraid of racists and homophobes that people couldn't stand being afraid of being called it anymore, and they voted for Trump instead of being called it again.
By the way, Chaz, I was going to do, and frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, but you did that before me.
I know, and that's because you did not see me coming.
Oh, I'm going to Hitler you.
I don't think so.
We have a special place in hell.
Yes. I can't tell if he's accusing Trump or the mainstream media of fear-mongering.
I don't know.
I think he's accusing Trump, but it's more applicable to the mainstream media.
I do not see his point.
Since he's a social justice warrior, I'm going to assume he's accusing Trump. Even though it was the mainstream media constantly fear-mongering about how Trump was literally Hitler. Yes.
No, Trump isn't Hitler. He doesn't quite have the mustache and the charisma.
Or the
I mean,
death camps.
I've seen Trump's. Well, yeah, I've seen Trump's speeches. He just doesn't seem charismatic to me.
We will replace them with, instead of death camps, we will make defecation camps, where we just herd people underneath a urinal and fucking toilets, and people just shit on them all day.
Oh, can I have at least one death camp?
Fine.
Yay!
We'll put it in Alaska so that whenever they go through the 3 months of night, you could just leave them outside. You're being let out for the night.
I could do black. Yeah, dude, I could do black metal concerts too during the 3 months of night. Starving to death. I'm just doing a black metal show. It'd be awesome. Fuck.
Here's some tweets from a guy named Celtic Frosty, who writes for a metal blog called Toilet of Hell. Hey, we shit on them before.
I've shat on them, and I've also said to see some interesting articles. But yes, and by the way, thank you for not saying Celtic Frost, because that's the wrong way to pronounce it.
Yeah, which is a rather appropriate name given just how full of shit they are.
Yes, I don't remember when we shat on it, but I remember we shat on. Oh, that's of with the V to make it all KVLT.
Yeah, fuck them. You want me to be tolerant and forgiving and find a way to work together? You want peace? Nah, this is fucking war. What?
Good. You know what? Put your money where your mouth is.
War is all we know.
It's just war. Wow. That's a Burzum reference.
Yeah. Take that kumbaya shit to Sunday school. We've seen that going high doesn't work.
They say war is all we know. If only that were true.
So in response to a tweet that says, I'm a Muslim woman and an immigrant, and I voted Trump, he replied, nah, not interested. You're still a fucking idiot. Well, I kind of agree. She's an idiot, but I'm an idiot. This guy's definitely an idiot.
Welcome to the party of utter contempt. You're all idiots.
Yes. And we don't exclude ourselves from that statement.
No, I am a self-described professional idiot and a talking pig.
Exactly. Funny how these so-called tolerant leftists are the most intolerant people on Earth. We've said it a million times.
I don't know if they're the most intolerant, but they're the most intolerant that actually have a voice. I think some Nazis would actually put them to shame.
Some, not all.
Others, yeah. I was going to fuck you, Jim. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. That's why I completed it.
Yeah. Yes, Jim has this weird habit on Facebook. Whenever I say something, he points out the abundantly obvious that I didn't think needed to be said.
But I felt like saying it anyway because I have to be Mr. Obvious.
Yes, because he just likes to be annoying.
Just look at how he called out that Muslim woman who voted for Trump a fucking idiot. Perhaps she was voting for her fucking best interests, or at least what she thought were her best interests.
Yeah, well, she is an idiot.
Yes, but so are we. So,
and so is the person writing this.
and so is the guy. And so is that Celtic Frosty, especially him.
So is Chaz, and so is Jim and Eric, but he left, and me, and yeah, everyone. My two friends watching the show. You're great, but you're idiots.
Social justice.
They're gonna fucking kill me after this.
Yeah. Social justice warriors absolutely hate it when women, gays, and non-whites leave the leftist plantation because that destroys their oppression Olympics narrative. Yeah, they do hate that.
But the problem with people like this is they use the exact opposite of the language that the SJWs use. I mean, someone could say it's fight fire with fire, but I think it's fighting petty crap with more petty crap. That's why I don't take Death Metal Underground seriously, because you've seen the articles, it's very loaded language. I don't take shit like that seriously, as I told you before.
Though they do make some good recommendations, so that's why I say check it out.
Fine, they make good recommendations, but every time I read editorials, I just start laughing.
Yeah, but definitely go there for the recommendations.
No, yeah, fucking listen to this guy for the recommendations. He has a great taste in music. But I'm just saying, the way he's loading his language, it definitely sounds like it's kind of like how I've described Anderson Cooper as the liberal equivalent of Fox News.
No, this guy's obviously from the right. If he is who I think he is, yeah, he is severely on the right. Not like a raving racist or fascist or anything, but yeah.
Whereas I'm looking at things more, I wouldn't say I'm a centrist, because I'm looking at this from a completely detached scale.
People like Celtic Frosty pretend to be all nice to non-whites, but then they show their true colors when a non-white says or does something that contradicts their social justice group thing.
Yes, pretty much.
Meanwhile, I defecate on you regardless of your skin color.
Defecation. Some people enjoy shit like that. Shit, get it?
Yeah. That's just a small amount of all the salt these people spilled. I'm sure you could find plenty more. I was going to end this article by written up in-depth explanation as to why Donald Trump won, but this guy explained it far better than I ever could. From being classically liberal. Trump is the natural result of the left's highly politically correct, anti-white, anti-male, and anti-American rhetoric. Turns out if you demonize the people you disagree with, paint them as racists and oppressors, and tell them that any and all of their success are the result of some unearned privilege, they will create a counter-revolution. Progressives, Trump is the consequence of your actions, your rhetoric, and the identity politics you brought to the American politics.
I don't think it's quite a revolution. I just think it's a protest vote.
Yeah. You made your bed, now lie in it. Which, yes, they should. Black Lives Matter is the one that earned Trump about 30% of the black vote.
Yes, well,
Because
Mathis
blacks are like, dear God,
Mathis had a great tweet. Mathis had a great tweet. He said something effective. Some guy said, I haven't seen any protest move that's worked since 1968. And Shane goes, Black Lives Matter, you fucking idiot.
Yes, they did something very profound. They got 30% of blacks to vote Trump.
And some whites who would actually agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people I know agree with what BLM stands for. It's just that the way they do it and the way the other things they stand for is like, wow, that's
yeah.
shit. But now we have to all bow down to President Trump.
Hooray, President Trump.
I mean, he's not my president, not because I don't like him. I don't, but basically because I don't really consider myself an American. I've never kind of identified as, with that kind of country thing. So, Clinton wasn't, so fuck it. Unless, if Jim gets in, I will identify as an American.
I will say, sadly, yes, Trump is my president. I don't want him. I will do my same thing as always. 0 incumbents. Next election.
That's only because he's not cool enough to distance himself from the American thing.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
Stop asking me to empathize with white working class.
Yeah, damn it, Jim. I'm sorry. I'll stop asking you. It's just funny because you're reading it, but it's actually, I think, a black woman.
Yeah, I think so too. Kelly Holloway.
Yeah. There we go.
The only people who are surprised by white people voting for white supremacy is other white people.
Oh, God. My British friends have been toxic.
Muslims,
Thank
black.
you.
Not you, but everyone else, all the fucking British punks.
Muslims, black folks, and other people of color have been petrified of this outcome for a long time now because we know how white power will do anything to preserve itself.
That's a good song, by the way, by Screwdriver. And people, I mean, God, people, there's so much, I guess you call it cognitive distance. How do you like Nazi music and are not a Nazi and date black girls?
That's not
like,
cognitive dissonance.
No, to them it is, I'm saying. And
that's because they don't know what the words mean and they're misusing them.
Because it's a fucking good tune.
It's a good tune. My ex-wife sang it.
Yeah, my girlfriend who was black sang along with what was it? "Crush the Lies" by Aryan Terrorism.
Yay! There's no shame in it.
And the Nail Bomber.
You just recognize the politics are bullshit.
5 or 6 or whatever the fuck number it is. I think it's 5.
And yes, I have debated these politics, stating it's bullshit to the people who are spouting it. and I treated them as humans.
I debate it, and then I post Bound for Glory on my Facebook page. I debate it while I'm posting Bound for Glory, and watch and
Sometimes I think you would post Bound for Glory just to get the debate going. Oh, I found a Nazi. Good, let's debate them.
Actually, that's that they usually started, but usually after the debate we wind up talking about music. Because so we'll debate for a while, and then it'll be like we'll be like, okay, I'm bored with this debate. So did you like that album I posted? Hell yeah, man! Fucking some people sending me music. Someone sent me the Chaos '88 album.
We've seen it, worked beside it, watched it in the news, lived next door to it, witnessed it call itself our friend, and then question our experiences with racism when we recount them.
We question it because there are people who make shit up or dramatize shit. So yeah, I mean, you were talking about you had an incident where your girlfriend had said something, and you had to ask, something about her sexual experience, and you had to ask her about it or some shit.
It wasn't her sexual experience. It was just someone was being a sexist, and I didn't believe it because I'm a sexist simply because I'm white and have a cock, apparently, and, never mind the fact that I've helped support women I've been with go to school to better themselves and, didn't mind the fact that they made more money than me consistently and all this other shit. I didn't care about any of that, but I'm a sexist.
But yeah, you had to ask. I mean, I have to ask whenever someone has a rape allegation. Not because I'm a horrible monster, but because look at how many claims of there's a band called Anvil. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of them, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good '80s metal band. If you can get past the idiotic lyrics, which I can. Not Nazi, just party shit, which But a very, very good '80s metal band. Anyway, they had a show. And one of the groupies was in bed with, I believe it was the guitarist, who was basically like a glam kid, basically in the scene for the chicks. And he was in bed, and she was in bed, and I don't remember how the story goes, but it was something effective. The roadie came in and annoyed them, and so she walked out. But she left her watch, and then she went to go get her watch, but the roadie, in typical roadie fashion, had smashed up against the wall several times. Because that's what roadies do. They're fucking weird. So she goes to so the next time they play a show, they see a bunch of cops, or I'm sorry, they see a bunch of guys with baseball bats because the woman had claimed that the band had raped her. And the band had to call the cops, and the woman said, no, okay, fine, they didn't really rape me. But the guys weren't having any of it, so they had to have a police escort out of town because of that. That's why I ask questions, because some people do make fake, false stories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I feel sorry for the actual victim. I really do, because it means people don't doubt horrible events. People doubt horrible events happen because, unfortunately, it's guilt by association. I mean, I hate it, but it happens to me too.
I mean, fuck, I was just seeing earlier, there was this fucking thing circling around. It's from like one of these Christian supposed news sites that does nothing but post bullshit. It's not even an actual news site.
Oh, come on, they're fun though.
But what they were doing was saying, look, fucking Trump supporter gets fucking bashed in the head. And you look at the core footage, it's from like a few years ago. Just because, a few black guys are beating up a white guy. Yeah, this had nothing to do with Trump. This was actually a drug deal gone bad.
So that guy took my head off, and a drug deal gone right wrong by some weird Asian dude that they call Naritong.
Exactly. For 18 months, we have watched this demagogue with nary a workable policy to his name wage one of the most violent campaigns against us in our lifetimes.
And by the way, non-whites did vote for Trump. Thank you very much.
Yeah, like I said, somewhere around 30% of the black vote. Really? That was waging a war against you. But continue.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I hate you. I hate the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be our our national anthem if you ever get into president.
Oh, God. I was thinking breaking the law, but okay.
Breaking the law is so simple, though. It has no...
Yeah, but the whole thing is, I want people to just hear it. Because, there I was completely wasted, out of work and down. So, right there, that just says it. I'll break the law. Fuck you. I was fucking broke.
Allen song. Fuck.
Legalize murder.
Yes. Or brutality and bloodshed for all. I pledge allegiance to disobedience, for which I stand. One nation swimming in blood, one nation living in sin. That's our new theme song. That's our new anthem. Fuck you.
Some of us were shocked Tuesday night. I was, but not like you, apparently.
I was, because
I was shocked more because, dear God, I've seen corrupt politics play out so much, and now, it's...
different kind of corruption.
Yeah. What the fuck happened? I actually sat there, did the digging to see where I was wrong, and it's like, wow, that's fascinating.
But not just that, Hillary's such a faded winner. I mean, I basically said Trump is... I joked that if Trump wins, the first thing he's going to do is going to die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Like in, God, I did not expect it, and I will admit I was wrong. So I was shocked.
Yeah. But let's see why they were shocked.
Why were you shocked?
But we aren't surprised.
Here we go.
Oh, you weren't surprised because everyone's racist, sexist. It takes a whole lot of privilege to be delusional enough to believe that America would not throw itself into the task of preserving its most valued institution.
What, the brewery?
The brewery, yes. I like the distillery, too.
Now I have Breaking the Law stuck in my head. Well, we can't do Breaking the Law. Judas Priest is a UK band, so...
Don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, plus that song's fucking overplayed, so fuck you.
Trump stoked racial hatred, but he didn't invent it.
What, he didn't... He invented it? What, the people who... Oh, fuck. George Lincoln Rockwell didn't exist?
So stop acting like he did, because it makes you feel good.
Let's continue.
The irony of this whole thing is that Trump knew better than a lot of good white folk. Even recognized as well as folks of color did how much white power and supremacy means to white people. That wasn't what he had people in the background shrieking that, but he wasn't proclaiming white power. He was saying, make America great again, as in other words, patriotism.
He did say some pretty inflammatory things, I'll give him that.
Yes, but racist, I never saw that.
See, if it were anyone else, I would actually say yes. But it's just because I don't believe that Trump actually believes his own bullshit. Or if he does, he believes he's both right and left-wing at the same time. I mean, I don't think Trump has any core beliefs. I just think he's either senile or he's just a politician. But he did say some pretty inflammatory things about everything. So, okay, look, I'll give you this. Does he have a point in that did Trump's getting elected or nomination stoke formerly dormant racist groups? I mean, when was the last time you heard about Stormfront? When was the last time you actually heard about the KKK? When was the last time you heard about David Duke? So she may have a point there, but that's not her actual point. But I'm just saying, she's not completely wrong. She's just wrong in everything she's saying. if you get the double negative.
If you actually get a look at some of the reality, yeah, some of that shit was like, oh, he's talking patriotism, that's white power. No, white power isn't patriotism.
No, but what I'm saying is, so she has a point about stoking up the white supremacists, and yes, he did, because you got to hear things about, like I said, the KKK, which you haven't heard. When was the last time you ever heard anything about the KKK, Jim?
He ran a brilliant campaign in a country where a brilliant campaign can almost certainly consist of telling white people they might not be on top forever. He called it credit where it's due.
Okay.
Yeah. Continuing. The only surprise to come out of this election is how many and how quickly white people want us to empathize with the people who voted against our humanity. Well, yeah, anyone voting for Hillary wanted World War
Wait,
III, so.
wait, Jim. Oh, the humanity.
Yes, yes, let's go directly to war with Russia, a nuclear superpower who would lose, hands down, in a conventional war, leaving the nuclear option the only thing viable for them, even though it would result in completely fucking them over in the end. At least they'd get to fuck us all over back.
Isn't mutually assured destruction beautiful?
Uh-huh. So, yes, that's how you voted against humanity, but apparently not. Our right to exist in the first place. See comments about nuclear war.
Nuclear war.
Even before the election, the Washington Post actually had the audacity to berate us for not crying for the white working class. Well,
Yeah, well, oh, fuck. I don't even want to start.
yeah, sure, you should sympathize with the white working class because they make up the majority of people in this country.
And they have shit hard to people. Oh, everyone has it easy.
Yeah, apparently, me living under a fucking bridge and in a gutter behind a church, that was like just so privileged of me.
Yes,
Uh,
because
in
you're
the
the white working class.
Uh-huh. In the days since Trump won, the number of articles urging everybody to be cool to Trump's America, to understand what they are facing, to hear their grievances, has added insult to injury. I attribute this mostly to the fucking mainstream media
Because
calling Trump literally Hitler when he's just a moron.
zero introspection or zero understanding of why this happened.
Uh-huh. Bernie Sanders, Saint Christ.
Bernie Christ, as I call him.
Yeah.
He'll save us from our sins.
Issued a statement saying Trump tapped into the anger of a declining middle class that is sick and tired of establishment economics, establishment politics, and the establishment media. Yes, that was actually.
Oh my God, he's right. He's right.
I read it at least 3 times, and I couldn't find the words white supremacy anywhere in it. That's because that's not what they were voting for.
Because it's not in there. I mean, people don't care what he stands for. Yes, he said that he wants to build a wall and he wants all Muslims out of the U.S. and wants a database on Muslim Americans. People didn't look into it, or if they did, they were like, "Well, I don't like what he says, but I don't like Hillary either." And Hillary supports this. He packaged himself as the anti-politician, as the outsider, as the voice in the wilderness.
Oh, come on. He pandered himself to people's fears, some of them legitimate, some of them bordering on the paranoia.
Yes,
like,
but
for instance, there's legitimate concerns about Islamic terrorism. That is true. And people are very, very afraid, the American public. It's the same here in Britain. It's the same across Europe. People are legitimately afraid. They don't understand all of these bombings and why they're happening, and these shooting incidents.
I'm saying he also packaged himself as the outsider, if you would.
That's one thing he really, because of it was part of the package. It was like, I'm going to play on your fears, like a snake oil salesman, and sell you the cure. And a reason why the cure works is because of it's organic. And that's kind of what it was. That's pretty much, Trump sold himself no differently than coconut oil.
Yeah, coconut oil. Jim.
For hundreds of years, white people have controlled everything in this country. The executive office, Obama. Congress, yeah, there have been a few blacks in there.
Hold on, didn't we
Supreme
see a thing
Court.
written by a person of color that was asserting that quite a few of the presidents, like Andrew Jackson, were all black people?
Yeah, even
Oh
though
God,
that was
not
fallacious,
that
but
conspiracy theory again.
that was complete
That
fallacy
was the
land. But
best. I think that was the best article we ever read. Andrew Jackson was black. Abe,
the
was it
Supreme
Abe Lincoln?
Court,
What was it? Was it Abe Lincoln was black?
God, Wall Street, God, yes, black CEOs don't exist. The lending institutions, the history textbook
No,
industry.
Jim, because the lending institution's all run by Jews.
Oh yeah. The false narrative that America cares about liberty and justice for all.
Just for all, but not for you. Oh, sorry. That's a hardcore punk song.
So after fucking attempting to correct past mistakes, let's look past that, the success stories that have happened whenever people have attempted to correct them. And how about other success stories where even before they were totally corrected, there were those who succeeded? What was it? George Washington something or other. I forget his last name. God
Carver.
damn it. Carver. Yeah. Name doesn't ring a bell, does it?
Nate or fucking Wendell Scott, who granted he was only a race car driver, but he entered the southern sport of NASCAR stock car racing in the 50s and 60s. People talk about Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson had the backing of a team, had the backing of the league, Yes, I'm sure he got some nasty comments, but Wendell Scott went in with the backing of no one. NASCAR made like an empty promise that, if you deliberately wreck him, you'll come and see me in my office. But we're not going to stop him from, blocking you from racing six at certain tracks and shit like that. He came in with no help, with no sponsorship, with no backing. He had to earn the respect from his drivers and the fans. Some people never respected him, and he did it. He won a race in a shit car, and he did what he did. And we're talking the South in the 50s and 60s. We're talking the South in 1953, before civil rights, and he didn't come in as some sort of like, I'm here to represent my race. He came here, I want to race, and they're like, you know what? People who used to be really racist or whatever are like, you know what? I respect that. He didn't come in as a freedom fighter. He came in because he wanted to, as they would say in the South, race a goddamn car. But look at the odds he had to go up against. But he doesn't exist.
Yes. None of this exists because, we have to fucking shame the white people for always being evil, even to this day.
Granted, Scott I'm surprised he got into the Hall of Fame because NASCAR didn't help his fucking cause. But there are a lot of people who tried to help him. There are a lot of people who tried to get him sponsorship.
Let's just look past the fact that white people realized there were mistakes made, some very grievous ones, and they have attempted to fucking correct it. There are times where I think they go too far into the self-abasement, which is another problem on the opposite end of the spectrum. What we should be doing is encouraging better, fucking...
See, I don't care about self-abasement because, once again, I don't identify with any sort of nationalistic or cultural... It's never applied to me, so I don't care. You think I'm the devil because I'm white? Fine. White people fucking suck. Because everyone fucking sucks.
Because political correctness, a general plea for white people not to be as awful as they have been in the past. No, it's censoring thoughts so that you can't point out where they're wrong.
And, of course, blacks can't be, horrible. Because the new Black Panther Party, that one gang that, what the fuck was it called? The one where you had to kill a white guy to get in. And, oh, yeah, those people don't exist.
Yes. God. Everyone's equal scum.
I respect the original Black Panthers. Huey Newton actually said, look, what we need is cooperation. and we need a White Panther Party. We need people. We need to talk to people. And of course, they got fucking murdered and persecuted. The new Black Panther Party is completely different. It's basically.
Oh, come on, that went on back then. The start of the Black Panther Party was quite good, except it got hijacked quite early on by a group of black nationalists, black separatists, and their rhetoric and their xenophobia and their
Now what we want. Now what we have to
took
do.
over.
Now what we have
Same
to
with
do
BLM.
to avoid this problem, what we have to do is we have to kill all the white people. Now I don't care if you're gonna clap. I don't care if you agree. What we have to do is we have to kill all the white people. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the name Kamal Kamban on YouTube. And that was one of his speeches that he did at some sort of black. I think he owns something called Blacknificent Books, which is a fucking fantastic name. And,
See that?
What?
This whole thing here, right here, is the failure of polite society. The fact that people are too afraid to voice their opinions means you cannot debate them. And if you cannot debate them, you're not going to win any fucking hearts or minds.
Exactly, which is why Swine Brothers should be the greatest show on earth. Because
Apparently,
how many
if
times...
Sanders had won, apparently if Sanders had won, he would have got 303 and Trump would have got 235, according to polls, apparently.
Yes, well, those are old polls, and if pigs flew, yeah, I don't like doing the if this happened because it didn't. Happen.
Based on, I don't know. I think that's wrong. To be honest, I don't think Bernie had a hope of hell, especially not against Trump.
I don't know, and we'll never know.
He would have been very, very popular, but the problem with the left is Bernie would have been very, very popular, but they wouldn't have shown out to the polls to actually vote for him. Just like the Green Party, like hands down, when people are asked without knowing whose policy it is at the polls, they pick the Green Party, and then you get all these polls done where it looks like UKIP or the Green Party are going to win. But these people don't actually show up to vote. And so it's fucking meaningless.
I don't know what the result would be, and we'll never know. But what I was saying is we actively seek out people. The problem with this show is people are too pussy to show up. On the Mental Elitist article, did we not ask a anti-elitist to show up and voice his opinion? And he declined. We have asked people on both the left and the right to show up and debate us, and they have all declined.
Or some have just said they were too busy.
We are not an echo chamber. We don't want to be an echo chamber. It turns into an echo chamber, sadly.
Yes, sadly. This whole idea that I have to understand the people America seems to believe are its real citizens is less and less relevant. Yes, they won the election. This country is getting browner and gayer by the day, and for all they are fighting to get back to the 1950s.
Yes, so shun them. So shun them. Shun them and see what happens. Go ahead.
It is going to literally go back to the 1950s. You keep shunning them, you moron.
Yeah, as I said to the guy who says, well, and I say this to the right too. Look, don't, because, yes, social justice warriors are a bad thing, but I want social justice, real social justice.
Not these fucking idiots that have no concept.
That's why I always say, people always say, well, why do you keep saying that? It's because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. I don't like repeating myself, but I keep having to. But I want people to understand where I'm coming from and hopefully understand where they're coming from. As in, when we say we're against social justice, we don't mean we're against social justice. We mean we're against this kind of idiocy.
Yes.
So we don't want it to be back like the 1950s.
No.
I mean, I want some parts of the 1950s. I want to see front engine cars at fucking Indianapolis 500 and fucking, those 1950s Ferraris. Yeah, I want that. What I don't want is, the politics.
Yay. Lazing and toxic nostalgia isn't going to change that.
I
Toxic
want
Nostalgia. Toxic Nostalgia sounds like a great band name.
I want the British government of 1947 to
What, everything's rationed.
1951.
You're picking and
What?
choosing there, very narrow range.
I know, it's the Clement Attlee government.
Why? So everything's rationed and no one's happy?
Well, there was after war rationing just while we got our feet up, but you had a huge amount of schools built, huge amount of hospitals, the foundation of the NHS. You had a proper government of the people.
He's so utopian. That's the cool dynamic about this show is we have two people who don't have any hope and want the world destroyed. We have Chaz who still wants the world to be a better place.
No, knowing the world can be a better place, yeah. That's it. It's just knowing that there exists the possibility.
2.6%. That's the odds I give you.
And I don't.
If you add in the real calculation, then yeah, I'm saying that more people lack the will than the way, if you know what I mean.
And I don't care. I'm completely misanthropic, so I just want to kind of see everyone fucking die horribly.
I'll work towards better, yes, just as well. It's just I'll work for worse. It depends upon my mood. I'm bipolar. Fuck off. Oh,
yes, I am. I mean, there are sometimes I'm willing to have yes, this could be better, but then I suddenly think, you know what, it could be, but we could also just fire the nukes.
And just to back on, and just to double down on what I just said, that bipolar diagnosis was given to me in the 80s when it actually meant something.
Yes, we are both sociopaths.
Well, did you know that a lot of people are misdiagnosed with bipolar when they actually have narcissistic personality disorder?
Are you saying Jim's a narcissist?
No, I was just saying that.
I know
I've
this
had a lot of discussions of bipolar and narcissism.
Yeah, Chaz says Jim's a narcissist.
I understand this because I've followed the trends, because mental illness has been one of my interests ever since being diagnosed.
I understand. You sometimes think that I don't understand. I understand perfectly. But my desire to shit on Jim is greater than my desire to have a reasoned political or a reasoned discourse. I mean, I was diagnosed with Asperger's. Asperger's.
Take the burger out of the ass and sell it to the community. It tastes good, don't it?
It's called McDonald's.
No, the demographics of this country are not on their side. Really. They might want to try understanding the future, in which they are outnumbered and outvoted because it comes for us all.
Except for the fact that some people voted, some white people did vote for Trump, and some white working class people voted for Trump. I mean,
some
for Clinton, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, such as my aunt voting for Clinton.
Yeah, my brain just kind of stroked out there for a second.
You just want to cast generalizations without actually coming to realities.
Reality? What's that?
If you're white, stop asking me to feel for these people. If you're a white woman, I'm going to need a little more accountability for what happened Tuesday, because 53% of you voted for white supremacy. No, they vote for white supremacy. They voted for someone that was labeled as anti-establishment. I honestly don't see that happening ever, but whatever.
No,
they wanted the label.
Who his supporters are. If you actually look at who his backers are, they're very well in the establishment.
He's always been part of the establishment. I mean, he was there back in the days of Clinton and stuff. Tax loops that they're having to go at him using in the press as a way to sort of like make him look like the evil fat capitalist.
His mob connections are through the roof as well.
Yeah, they were all tax loopholes put in by the Clinton establishment.
Yep.
Oh God.
I mean, if you look at their debate,
once again, this is just the perception versus the reality.
Yeah, but yeah, his mob connections are through the roof.
Yeah. To paraphrase Samantha Bee, if
Yeah.
Muslims and black folks have to take responsibility for every member of our communities, so do you. No, you do not have to
I'm
take
sorry.
responsibility for members of your community. You have to fucking point out bullshit when you see it instead of
Yeah.
just giving it a pass. We don't fucking God.
I've
Even
had to
in the
watch.
article,
I've
even
had
in
to
that
watch.
very last article we read, where we were in agreement with a lot of what he was saying, what did we do? We still sat there and pointed out his own bullshit.
I've had to watch Samantha Bee. Basically, she's a late night talk show comedian, but uncensored. She's got one hell of an annoying voice too. She's basically like what Colbert does, but a woman and uncensored, and makes rape jokes, and that makes her edgy. I mean, whereas we do it because we're misanthropic, and she just does it to look edgy. So that's her.
I do it because I really like rape.
Well, don't we all? Rape, the other white meat.
Mm-hmm. More than anything,
And now my friends are definitely going to kill me.
more than anything, liberal white people, you need to spend some quality time doing work in your own community,
I
talking
have
to
no
your
community.
people.
I have
Wait,
no.
you're suggesting that these people actually talk to racists? Are you suggesting that these people
No.
who do nothing but shun racists should talk to
Keep reading.
racists
Keep reading. Keep reading. I bet there's going to be something else here.
because they are destroying this country and our lives?
Oh, you okay? You actually are saying. I had to stop you because I didn't know what was going to come next. First of all, I have no community.
So you're saying that instead of doing the same exact thing you're doing, which is just fucking abandoning all fucking white working class people, you're telling them to come in and talk with them and even negotiate with the racists whom you reject and don't want to talk to.
Well,
Do as
because
I say, not as I do.
they're white, obviously.
Yes, do as I say, not as I do is exactly what he's
Well,
saying.
no. It's different, Jim, because they're white. So she doesn't have to. They have to because they're white. It's their responsibility.
Start with conversations during holiday meals if you like.
My conversation during holiday meals. When are you going to die so I don't have to talk to you anymore?
I defer to you on how to get the ball rolling.
I don't care. I never talk to my relatives about politics because they get really emotional about it, and then I have to sit there and deal with that. It's just better to just whatever. You want to vote for Trump, have fun. I can't debate my family because they get really emotionally attached,
Mm.
and it's. I know you're supposed to debate, but Jim, it just gets really annoying when someone gets so emotionally attached. It's just like, okay, you know what? Vote for Trump. I don't care. I just.
I'll admit that I got emotionally attached to certain things because, you know, they they just weren't understanding. Yes, I have been fucking called a racist to my face. Not just some random guy online that I could fucking, ignore. I'm talking about, a couple dozen people doing this. And some of them were actually in charge of whether or not I got to see my kids again. Oh, that was wonderful finding out I can't.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. Like, I know people who got super emotional when they talk about Clinton and wouldn't listen to any debate about why Clinton was horrible because, oh my God, what about Trump? And so I gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try it anymore.
I marry a black chick, I have two biracial kids, and I spent the better part of the 90s telling Nazis how idiotic their ideas were. So, but I'm a racist.
Yep,
Nice knowing that.
that's how people work. Unfortunately, Garfield's brain.
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
But definitely don't tell us to roll up our sleeves and get back into action. Well, yeah, this just is typical do as I say, not as I do mentality.
Like I said, they're white, so they have to do it, whereas we don't because.
Yeah. As so many of you in my Facebook feed have chirpily suggested. Yeah, if you want to work towards something, you keep working on it. Granted, I see a bunch of idiocy here, which you should really do some introspection, but you're not going to. I have no hope.
Yay! Finally, Jim's learning.
No, I've never had hope. Even when I had hope, I lost it quick.
I have hope, but I'm not optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, optimism. Yeah, that I don't think I've ever had.
No.
Channel all that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed energy and enthusiasm into talking with your peeps. Who says that they're their peeps?
Who says they live in a white neighborhood? Who says I don't know my neighbors. The only thing I know about my neighbors is they play music really loud, and I just want to slaughter them horribly. So, who says they know their neighbors? I don't want to know my neighbors.
If you're a person of color, reach out to people you love. Okay, how about that 30% of your people, since you're moving this huge, broad brush generalization? How about that 30% that voted Trump?
Those don't exist, Jim. Those people do not exist. They do not exist. They have never existed. You are not part of the hive mind.
Most of all, take care of each other. Oh, boo-hoo.
Most of all, bomb each other.
Yes, bomb. Oh, God. Let's get on to some happy news, shall we?
I need to stop sharing these stories.
This is beautiful, happy news here. Rioting breaks out in the U.S. in reaction to Donald Trump's shock victory. Thank you, humanity. Violence wins.
What was it? Stand up. It's time to rise. It's time for revenge. Opposition must die. Chaos, violence, revolution now. We are the real rock and roll underground. So says our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ Allen.
Yes.
Shoot, knife, strangle, beat, and crucify.
More than 100 protesters gathered in Oakland in the early hours Wednesday morning, attempting to block freeways, with at least one hit by a car.
Good. I mean, really, if you block freeways, you deserve what you get.
Yeah. I gotta get to work, motherfuckers. There were also reports that cars were set on fire and windows of others broken, with emergency services closing down one highway to deal with the incident.
There's a freeway. I'm driving forward. I don't care what I hit.
There's a picture here of the middle of the street being ignited with flaming garbage.
Flaming garbage. That's another good band.
However, Detroit still hasn't noticed any of this going on.
Or Oakland, really. Oakland's a shithole.
Protesters were also seen in masks outside a Trump supporters party in San Francisco, according to KTVU, and in Berkeley, where others were heard chanting, "Not my president."
Oh, but no deaths. This sucks.
Hillary Clinton supporters were also filmed marching through Portland, Oregon, shouting "Fuck Donald Trump" and setting fire to the U.S. flag. And there's
people were so mad about it, punks, and I'm like, wait a minute, punks are mad at flag burning, disrespectful, punk rockers are mad at flag burning. Are you shitting me? What has happened?
I don't know why people get mad about flag burning. It's fucking good.
It has to deal with the way that the flag is viewed, especially in this country. People literally.
Well, no, here's the thing, right? I had an argument with
People-
somebody. He posted a picture of some people burning an American flag, and he's like, "Oh, this is Burma," and I was like, "You do know that technically that flag's been on the ground, but if you actually truly love that flag, you'd want it burned, because that's what you do when a flag touches the ground. It has to be burned."
7.
And yes, people ain't gonna think about that.
And the other thing is as well, he hasn't burnt your flag. He's burnt his own flag.
Yeah.
He went to a shop, he paid for that flag, and then he burnt it.
People are idiots. Anyway, continue. I have a headache.
Also, flag burning is a protected form of freedom of expression. You can differ with it, yes, but wanting to call it illegal, I will not stand for. You can sit there and call them an idiot for doing it all you want. That's fine. Call them whatever. Just, you can't say it should be illegal.
Burn a flag while watching Swine Brothers. It's healthy.
There we go. Ooh, nice picture of a dumpster fire. We got a bunch of
Oh, I love
chicks
dumpster fire.
wearing red, white, and blue sequined fucking star-studded fucking shit protesting in the streets. Ah, yes, someone put out a giant garbage fire here.
Oh, I love dumpster fires. Aren't they great?
Someone decided to burn garbage outside of police headquarters. More garbage fires in the middle of the street. Even more garbage fires. People holding up a fuck Trump sign. Wow, someone cleared out the entire neighborhood of trash bins,
Now,
dumped it all in one location, and set it ablaze.
wait a minute, Jim. The fuck Trump sign. Do you really want to fuck Trump? He's not really that attractive.
Nah.
I mean, I think you might be slightly better looking than him.
Yes. Other protests have broken out in the San Diego, San Francisco, and San Jose areas.
A lot of Sands in California.
Anti-racist protesters are to stage demonstration outside the U.S. Embassy in London following the shock election victory. Did that happen, Chaz?
Pardon? Anti-racist? Who was there? Donovan Was?
Yes, anti-rate. Yeah.
Anti-racist.
Yeah, his brother has that accent too.
But sweet glory, it was beautiful
with his big
just looking at the
black book
pictures.
Did you Charlie Brooker? They did the Jonathan Ross's brother did that big black book of horror thing.
Yeah,
I've been wanting. What?
I said I vaguely remember seeing that.
Oh, I've been wanting to find an episode of it. It was fucking funny because most of what he showed was like a woman talking about how sexy that man was, but in Paul Ross's voice, it was kind of disturbing, actually. Anyway.
From nice happy times to another headache, Cornell students hold a cry-in over Trump victory.
I literally thought this was the silliest idea. I thought, shut-ins, yeah, that's a legitimate form of protest to some degree. But this fucking crying is just crying.
I got to give this guy, Eric, actually, if not show me this article, at least led me onto it. So thank you, Eric. He leaves before I can thank him, but thank you.
The Cornell Daily Sun reports that students hosted a cry-in on the Quad Wednesday in the wake of presidential election results.
Wouldn't it be great if they were doing that just to drive through it with a tank while they're like busy like holding their heads down and crying? You just
yes, mourn your own demise as I drive through.
Those fucking Gatling guns and cannons and fucking missiles and shit.
Woohoo! I'm quite terrified, honestly, one student told the campus newspaper.
No, say right. I'm quite terrified, honestly.
As she took part in the event. I'm saying that people are really given into fear-mongering like me. I've given into the fear-mongering, and I am afraid. Oh, my God. They're willing to put out people down based on their identity just so that they would feel vindicated when they would be getting rid of crooked Hillary. And like, I'm not putting down people based on their identities because they are fucking white, racist, misogynistic, homophobic, blah, 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 because they are white. Oh my God.
That was actually in the article. Jim didn't improvise a bit. How did you know? God, if I had a picture of her voice, I'd say total fucking Valley Girl.
Another participant told the Sun.
No, seriously though, if it was a Valley Girl, wouldn't it be more like I can't even like racist? They elected a woman. They elected a man who's like he's like racist. And Hillary isn't, and we should have voted in Hillary.
Like, you did that accent.
Oh my God.
Like, is that your secret identity, Chaz? The gay Valley guy?
I am indeed, yes.
Another participant told the Sun that they are in shock as she
Hi, I'm
sipped.
secretly Randy
No, listen,
Baumgartner.
You're not getting the full picture here. Get the full picture
Okay,
before you
okay,
mock.
okay.
Another participant told the Sun that they are in shock as she sipped on a Starbucks coffee cup sitting cross-legged in the institution's Ho Plaza.
Shocked. Well, I can't justify. I fucking buy Starbucks because that's the only place you can go to get coffee if you don't want McDonald's. So I can't. I can't. But still, shocked. Shocked, I tell
I
you.
would take McDonald's over Starbucks.
Yeah, but Starbucks is closer.
Oh, so you're just being fucking lazy.
Yes. Yes, I am being fucking lazy.
Do you know what? I'm going to work hard with scientists to create a seeing eye horse.
They have a seeing eye horse now. Well,
Do they?
You can't ride it, but
Well, no, this would be one you could ride. It'd be a seeing eye horse.
Chaz, you'd have to get a fucking mutant fucking horse with fucking massive bone structure. Because there's one thing you got to know about me. I'm kind of a big fat bastard, so that's not a good idea. That poor horse.
I am concerned how this is validating the behavior of a lot of people.
Well, to
Really?
be fair, though, there is some concern about that because there has been, in the wake of Brexit, there has been sort of racially motivated violence and racially motivated.
Yes, but that's not what they're talking. They're talking about Trump himself, and they're not talking about his supporters, which we've already stated. Anyway, Jim.
And also, there's no introspection here as to how fucking the White House giving a pass to all their activities has fucking made them feel entitled and validated their own fucking behavior. Remember,
Now-
I'm a racist, sexist, homophobe.
I'm not going to say that I'm not sleazy enough to infiltrate a public crime to try to get chicks. Okay? I'm not going to say I wouldn't do that just because I'm a sleazy bastard. Oh, yeah, I'm totally about Trump. Wah.
Okay.
I think Jim's like, God, even I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. As the event took place, students, roughly 20 or so, according to the Sun's video, wrote their reactions and emotions on poster boards with colored markers or with chalk on the ground.
Except for one wrote, Heil Hitler SS 1488. Weird.
Yes, 18.
18, motherfucker. Whereas your 1020.
Yes, I am 1020. It is prophesied I will take the White House.
Yes. There's a band.
A chilly day on the Ithaca campus. At one point, the demonstrators huddled together as what appeared to be a barista brought them warm drinks. You're being catered to. You're being catered to in the middle of your pitiful protest. Does this even suggest the amount of privilege you have?
Yeah, someone brought them warm drinks. Not, I'm protesting in the snow, 6 feet, and 6 feet, and there's no one around except for some TV camera guys who are frozen to death. No, it's would you like some warm drinks? Would you like a hug? Would you like a fucking cheeseburger?
Yes, I had a personal valet while I was sleeping under the fucking bridge, and he went out and he bought me food and drove me places, and I just lived under the bridge. That was, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Well, Jim, they always say trolls live under bridges. So.
Yeah. Several adults, most likely professors, stood around the group.
If I was a professor, I'd start filming, and like when I get home, I got my own YouTube commentary. Look at the idiots I'm teaching.
Yes. The event appeared to take on the atmosphere of a funeral wake.
I've actually been to a funeral wake recently, and the atmosphere I felt was, can we get this over with, please?
I'd say the results are heartbreaking and such a slap in the face of so many populations that make up America.
America.
I think it's an indication that there are many, 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 many people who are suffering and feel they haven't been heard, and they believe that Trump will answer their needs.
Would you like some more hot chocolate? Would you like
That
some more
last
hot
statement?
chocolate?
That last statement, yes, there are many, many people who are suffering and feel they haven't been heard, and they do believe Trump will answer their needs. That was one of the logical reasons I've seen for voting for him, even though
Yeah, he won't.
he won't. Yes, we know this, but, you know.
I know.
How the fuck is he winning? What the fuck, said a student as Trump took the state of Ohio. Many students also said they felt genuine emotional distress, knowing that something like this could happen.
I felt interest, actually. I was actually interested. I didn't watch the news because I couldn't take the blithering idiocy of the newscasters.
I was
but
just watching the AP results as they were being phoned into it.
Yeah, thank you for keeping me up to date on that.
Yeah.
I watched most of the coverage on the Guardian website.
Oh, Lord.
Just had the occasional flick to it. Well, no, they got it not long after the AP did.
No, I mean, oh, Lord, I can't wait for the editorializing from the Guardian.
Hmm.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Anyway, Jim.
So, since all these people are concerned about what Trump's going to do to the gays, Trump holds high the flag for gay equality.
Yes.
This is back in November 2nd, before the election. Republican presidential nominee, now President-elect Donald Trump, made history Sunday at the political and the political media barely noticed. Or maybe they did, but since it didn't fit their narrative of what a Republican is supposed to look like, they decided to ignore it.
This is a Republican. This is a Republican on drugs.
This is a Republican after Jim partied with them.
This is a Republican. This is
Less government. Less government. Need more acid.
This is a Republican. This is a Republican on guar.
Oh my God, his face just melted off while he was talking, and he's still talking. What happened?
Oh my God, he's strangling people.
On Sunday, at a rally in Colorado, Mr. Trump proudly held up a rainbow flag with the words LGBT for Trump written on it.
Yeah, but it didn't say QQI.
Yes, it didn't say all the extra words they keep adding to it, just to make them seem more special.
QA plus.
Pound, percent, ampersand, lambda.
They had that written on it to a cheering crowd of thousands. It was a historic moment for gay equality and the party of Lincoln, as the 2016 GOP nominee for president of the United States held high the flag for gay equality.
I don't know if it was a historical moment because you've seen blacks for Bush or whatever and shit like that. So you'll always have subsects that'll vote for people.
Some sex.
Some sex that'll vote for people.
Yes, I will have sex with a sub. Just give me that fucking Subway right there. I'll slap my cock right in it.
I'd rather.
It takes me about a half hour.
I hear the best thing to use is a chicken sandwich.
Well, I was gonna fuck a Subway train because I wouldn't fuck a sub sandwich. I'd rather eat it.
You see, it takes me about half an hour to fucking get it erect playing with it anymore because I'm old. But I can still do it.
Not so much old as just damaged.
Yeah, probably. It's been used and abused by more than just me.
Okay.
No other Republican presidential candidate nominee in history has embraced the LGBT community in such a loud and proud way. And yet, the moment was barely reported by the media, despite the fact it happened in front of the traveling press corps accompanying Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump.
Political reporters, not unsurprising, largely failed to write on the moment where a Republican challenged their narrative media stereotype. But this moment was nonetheless historic. Sort of, kind of, because everyone likes to
Yeah.
kiss different people's asses looking for votes.
Yeah.
Trump walked on stage in Greeley, Colorado, to a large cheering crowd when he spotted a rainbow flag in the audience. As the music blasted through the speakers, Mr. Trump pointed to a supporter as if to ask if he could see the flag and then motioned for a campaign worker to help retrieve the LGBT symbol from the attendee.
Give me that flag, motherfucker.
Within seconds, Mr. Trump was walking around the platform with the rainbow flag in his hands, and moments later unfurled it in full display. You could see a huge smile on Mr. Trump's face as he walked to both sides to the stage to proudly hold up the rainbow flag, announcing support from the gay and lesbian community.
Well, some members, obviously.
Yes. Trump campaign spokesman Jason Miller told me Mr. Trump is campaigning to be a president for all Americans and was proud to carry the LGBT for Trump rainbow flag on stage in Greeley, Colorado yesterday.
I believe he's just campaigning for himself.
Yes, he was just campaigning. But, you don't get to see that too often where someone actually does that.
True, you make a good point, and I hate that you make a good point because I can't poke holes in it.
He will protect all Americans from radical Islamic extremists who perpetuate hate and violence in the world. I'd like to see how, because you can't. Even with the most restrictive means of getting into a country, people will find a way to do it and fuck your shit up.
I'm gonna protect you all by making it so that, because if you ban all Muslims, that's just gonna give them more of a recruiting tool.
Yep.
So, yeah, I do hope Trump's not serious on some of his policies.
If he actually takes to what he said, it was more geared towards the illegals, and he wanted to make the pathway to get into America and become a naturalized citizen easier. Not give, he didn't give the whole entire, let's grant amnesty thing that both
but
Bush and Obama played with.
A database with all Muslims is not a very smart thing to do.
No, that's not. No.
Speaking of illegal immigrants, Joe Arpaio's been voted out. Good, he's a fucking scumbag if there ever was one. He's the Phoenix police officer or the police chief or whatever who basically uses powers to do nothing but try to fight immigrants. And, the police were ignoring things like, little things, rape and murder and things like that because they're trying to chase down, so-called immigrants, illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
But he's gone apparently.
Joy.
Yeah.
The moment wasn't the first time Mr. Trump made history for his support for LGBT equality either. In Cleveland, Ohio, in July, he spoke to the Republican National Committee and voiced his support of the LGBT equality, even interrupting his nomination speech to thank thousands of delegates and attendees for cheering and clapping when he announced his support.
See, I don't buy into this shit because, like I said, he's,
Was that Chaz eating the fucking chips?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
That's a great sign of how interesting this is.
Yeah,
Let's just eat chips.
Yeah, take another fucking story.
Yes. We can have another fucking story. I just wanted to cover, make certain people knew, yes, that is something that happened.
And Chaz is making me quite hungry eating those chips.
So, yes, the right did something good. Let's go on and shit on the right.
Yeah, shitting on the right. Ooh.
I'm eating skip.
What?
Special thank you to the...
What I'm eating, they're called skips.
Sounds good.
Yes. And I would like to give a special shout out to the KKK for giving me a chance to shit on them, because they have plans for a victory parade in New York City, in North Carolina.
Of the victory parade, Jim.
Yeah, victory parade in North Carolina.
Jim knows speaking to English.
Yes, I failed English. The
It
Ku
must
Klux
be
Klan.
from, it must be from all those memes he keeps looking at.
Yes.
And albums.
The Ku
Come on, we
Klux.
shouldn't make fun. He might have dyslexic.
Yes, I am dyslexic.
And by the way, I had a mascot for one of my failed bands called the Ku Klux Klam. He was a clam that, well, anyway.
The Ku Klux Klan says it is planning a victory cavalcade, Klan parade
That's
in
fucks.
North Carolina on December 3rd.
The funny thing is there really is no KKK anymore. I mean, there hasn't really been an organized. There have been groups that have called themselves it, but really there was never any real organized Ku Klux Klan. It was always just people who called themselves it. You know what I mean? There's never been a. David Duke tried, but there's never been a.
Complete resurgence. Yes, it's all been rogue groups.
The 20s had the best because you kind of had to be a member of it to get into office in some counties, but yeah, ever since the 50s and 60s, there's just been kind of splinter groups calling themselves the Klan.
The group, the Loyal White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh,
What,
God.
the White Knights?
My fucking neo-Nazi friends would laugh at people calling themselves White Knights of the KKK.
See,
like even fellow actual racists laughed at that name. That's how silly it is.
I know what they're trying to say, but I'm just thinking of like White Knights, the people who go out of the way for like women.
Is based in Pelham, North Carolina, near the Virginia border. Oh, sounds like the great inbreeding section.
Yeehaw!
Under the announcement on its website, the KK says in all caps, "Trump's united my peoples." Fuck.
And of course, Stormfront supports Trump.
Yes.
So does Vard Vikernes.
Yes. The group also has a photo of Trump with the presidential logo under the announcement. The KKK endorsed Donald Trump before the election. He won North Carolina by nearly 5 percentage points on Tuesday.
And so did David Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump said, "I'll reject his endorsement if it'll make you happy."
Yes. A time and location for the parade has not yet been announced.
Probably because they're afraid they're going to get fucking counter-protested with knives and chains.
Well, we've already gone over articles where, people actually did that.
Yes. Fucking, I know people want to, I know there's KKK protests in other countries or other states as well. By the way, I'd also like to say California has legalized marijuana.
Yes. Now, if we could just
cannabis.
do the same here.
I do love it how cannabis actually won more states than Hillary.
Yes. That is glorious right there.
Actually, Hillary also won California. I think she got Los Angeles by 71%. Jim got point.
0.0000000, like not even percent.
Yeah, but you got to vote. That's
yes. I got the vote. How the media made this monster normalizing Donald Trump and demonizing Hillary Clinton. Wait, are we talking about the same media at all?
I mean, I would argue they did, but I'm arguing on a level that they're not thinking, which is basically whatever the media says, do the opposite. But they're not thinking about it.
Because
Let's see.
everything I have seen, fuck, I can't tell you how much Bill Maher haunts my nightmares. Because all I hear is Trump is Satan, Trump is evil, Trump is Hitler, Trump is fascist. We're stuck with Trump forever now. Trump, 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 Trump.
I'd
Trump,
just like
Trump,
to say that
Trump.
Trump is not Satan. I have talked to Satan.
Yes.
He thinks Donald Trump's pretty much a spineless wanker.
Oh, God. Zero fucking introspection here.
Yes. Well, let's read.
Obsessive coverage of the BS email scandal. First off, it was not BS. It was actual fucking legitimate concern.
I mean,
Second, obsessive, they mentioned it once. Once! Then backed off.
okay. I would say it's interesting not because of the private server thing, which I didn't care about, which that was a little bit obsessive. But it was the WikiLeaks emails that they found that I thought were really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't cover the contents of the actual emails. No. Because that would have made Clinton look bad. So we weren't watching the same media here, okay. They have tipped a tight race. 60% of voters overall knew the hell they were voting, who the hell they were voting for before they entered the poll. 6 months before, like,
yeah.
Did you even pay attention to the numbers at all?
Nope.
And that means that the email scandals didn't even tip a race. Fuck! Now Trump pivots to the White House.
I think he more trundles to the White House. I don't think he pivots.
I'm thinking he's a shambling mound.
much
16-hit die, you know.
Much like himself, except for without the head dye.
Yeah. Just set them on fire. They're easy to set on fire, by the way.
Yeah, right? I know hair dye is easy to set on fire. My friend once set fire to my other friend's hair.
Yes.
And it did burn.
Last spring, when Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton were sewing up their parties' respective...
Hillary Clinton.
Chaz, shut your face.
I wrote about a phenomenon that I could see was going to happen to be a problem going forward.
Yay, a problem going forward, much like AIDS.
Media outlets' need for balance that made them normalize Trump and demonize Clinton. What? Balance they didn't report on this balance at all. It was Trump is literally Hitler. That was the statement from the mainstream media, except for one, Fox News, which nobody takes seriously.
Yeah. I believe Fox News' nickname is what, Bullshit Mountain?
Well, that should be all media at this point. It's just their flavor is different than the rest.
Yep.
And I don't care.
Buy my snake oil, said the moose diarrhea salesman.
Uh-huh. Oh, God. The contours of the coming general election were starting to form, and what I saw wasn't healthy. Over time, it became downright toxic, and the poison still infects our politics now that the presidential election has been decided. It was downright toxic, just hearing how Hillary was goddess 24-7. Everyone is a misogynistic, fucking racist, fucking homophobic piece of shit for even thinking of voting for anyone other than Hillary.
Yeah.
Including the Green Party, which supports a very similar platform.
And had a female presidential candidate.
Yes. To top it all off, along with an African-American VP.
Who actually looks more female than Hillary.
Yes, she was not a Draco Lich.
8 or something. I think it's
Don't even care.
Yeah, Stein actually looks like a woman. Hillary looks like some sort of thing they raised up from the fucking crypts.
Throughout the primaries, Clinton's opponent, Bernie Sanders, the Christ superstar, had declined to attack her about her damn emails and he was right to do so.
Well, yeah, because I mean that was before the WikiLeaks thing. When I didn't get once the emails were released, I did want to read them. But yeah, I liked the Bernie Sanders said, "Can we just stop talking about the damn emails?" And
Yeah,
I liked Sanders, but I'm tired of the Bernie Messiah treatment. I don't think he is the second coming of Jesus Christ. I
the,
liked him, but
the email scandal involves a spurious change that by having a private server, Clinton was guilty of a federal crime. Which,
I
yeah,
didn't care.
she was, but we knew she was going to get off of it, so who gives a flying fuck? And the mainstream didn't even cover this. This is just fucking random people bitching about it on Facebook with
I
a
saw a
lot of
little
the
more.
fucking things.
I saw a little more coverage of it at first than maybe you did at like CNN or whatever. I saw a little bit more coverage at first, and then to fill time on those Good Morning America programs, they would talk about it, but they would talk about it in the most banal fucking
Where it didn't even
instances.
fucking matter, like, who gives a shit.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, ugh.
That belief spawned the execrable chants of Trump at Trump rallies of lock her up and Hillary for prison. And this
Yes,
became
I support Hillary for prison, but I also support Trump for prison. I will be interested to see how this fraud trial works out, because I don't know if he'll. I think he'll get off, but I'm not sure. I'm interested to see how this fraud trial works out.
yes. And this became Trump's primary attack against her. Well, her corruption was obvious. Bernie Christ was defeated by corruption entirely.
Yes.
That is provable beyond shadow of a doubt.
Yes, it is.
It was a very serious charge fraught with baggage that went back more than 20 years when the press demonized her as a congenital liar and criminal.
But she is.
I remember that, and that is true.
Yeah.
Neither of which are true then either. Yes, they were fucking true. Oh, God, Whitewater.
Yep.
And lots of fucking other shady. God. And how many fucking arms manufacturers backed her campaign?
Yep. You make
And
a
we're
point.
not talking simple fucking firearms.
No.
Month after month, Clinton was hammered in the press over the arcane email story, with tranches being continuously released under the Freedom of Information Act.
Yay, Freedom of Information Act.
You mean like the 3 websites that kept begging for it? That's the media you're talking about?
Well, like I said,
2 of which are complete fucking conspiracy nut jobs?
they talked about it on like the. They didn't talk about it a lot, but they talked about it in such a way that it was just so. Let's focus on the emails and let's not focus on the issues. Let's talk about let's talk about the fact that she used a private server, not the fact that certain families don't exist anymore because of her.
Yes. Then WikiLeaks began dumping the hacked private correspondence from her staff, each new group creating headlines but revealing nothing criminal or even unethical. Wrong and wrong. She fucking rigged a campaign against Bernie. Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
That's both unethical and criminal.
I did read some of the. I haven't because there's a lot of them, but I did read some of them.
That is enough to just invalidate what the hell you said.
Yes, and by the way, Swine Brothers fully supports WikiLeaks.
Yes. And I hope one day they find our own bullshit and call us out on it. It'll be glorious.
I'll be like, okay, yeah, you found out that when I was a kid I used to listen to Green Day. Fuck you, big deal.
Exactly. It was a relentless drumbeat that's ceased to have any specific meaning early on and instead became a symbol of Clinton's dishonesty, untrustworthiness, and finally her criminality. If
Yeah.
only we were watching the same media.
And
Because
now we have to go shit on Trump.
oh God.
Chaz has pedophile breath.
A recent Gallup poll asked people what they were hearing about the two candidates.
Well, the Pope gave me some money for a blowjob. What was I to do?
There we go.
What Americans have heard or read about Hillary Clinton? Email, Democratic. Nothing. I think that's the best letter there. Nothing.
Yeah.
Commercial. Yay. That's all I heard about her were from her commercials. Nothing substantive. Pneumonia. Bernie. There was a lot of talk about Bernie Christ whenever asked about Hillary Clinton. What do you know about Hillary Clinton? Bernie Christ.
What do you know about Hillary Clinton? Well, let's see. I know that her husband was a piece of shit, and I know she's a piece of shit. Excrement. Excrement is what they said.
What Americans have heard or read about Donald Trump? Cream pie.
You're fired.
Wall, email, family, change, community, Vice. And we're talking Vice City. That was a good game.
No, I don't think we're talking Vice City.
Presidential take tax.
Nah. Tic Tacs hate Donald Trump.
American New Health.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Make
God.
America shit again. Oh, wait, it's already shit to begin with.
As you see above, people have heard a whole lot about Clinton's emails, and it certainly wasn't in a positive context. Because there was nothing positive about it.
I mean, the party of hope and liberalism was trying to smear Bernie by marketing him as an atheist in states that they knew would react negatively to that. And it's like, okay, we're still in that mindset.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yep.
Trump, on the other hand, was associated with a bunch of different ideas that didn't add up to much. Presidential take tax. Oh, God, but the whole... God, there's your introspection.
Yes.
It's not that they didn't vet Trump. It's that they vetted him badly. They didn't fucking push him at all.
Have you read? Okay, granted, it's a little bit editorializing, but the Rational Wiki article has a great list of Trump's deeds, and all of them check out. Granted, the editorializing is a little bit like meh, but the list of Trump's, let's say, statements and his issues, not just during the presidential campaign, but in the 80s and 90s, checks out. I recommend reading the article. It's an interesting article. Sometimes they can actually do something good.
In a way, people couldn't understand that he was literally Hitler by every fucking news network out there.
Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is
Except
Hitler,
for Fox News, which is like, well, we don't like him, but, whatever.
But
and then they eventually came onto the train as...
We don't like him, but we're going to half-heartedly support him because if he wins, we got to fucking our guys in.
Yeah. And where CNN and the other networks are concerned, the hours and hours of free airtime, the bending of the rules, and the normalization of his outrageous campaign rhetoric, which they all said was racist, sexist, misogynistic.
Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler.
Yep, exactly.
And I mean, look at Stephen. Have you ever watched the Today Show or the Day Night Show or the whatever the fuck piece of shit he's on?
I mean, I think that the fucking results they showed is more telling of how much people actually ignore accusations of racism anymore.
I think the results are basically how much little that guy actually watched the news.
Maybe that too.
Maybe that too.
Oh, God. But if we thought media outlets had normalized Trump before, it was nothing compared to what's happening now. What, after the victory, people breaking down, crying, saying, yes, this actually happened. No, this is not a nightmare. No, you have not died and gone to hell. This is literally what someone on MSNBC told people on their wake-up show. Do you realize that you're... What? That is a literal statement. And, like, fucking, I have seen, God, CNN, whenever PA fell, they're like, holy shit. Like, this is what? How? Why? What? Like, they were speechless. They could not fathom that it would go to Trump at all. And they kept saying that PA had not voted Republican since, what, 88?
Scan heads, 88. Yeah, I saw that. You know, actually, the funny thing about 88 is they George W. Bush considered Trump for his vice presidential candidate before picking Dan Quayle, who was another idiot. So they paid. Hey, well, we know this idiot. Let's pick another idiot.
Yeah. Media representatives assume that Donald Trump has pivoted, which is shorthand for their ongoing assumption that at some point Trump would drop the cretinous imbecile act he uses to entertain the rubes and morph into the intelligent, thoughtful businessman he really is.
He's not an intelligent businessman. He had damn good law. I mean, someone said he's going to find it a damn hard time to fight, presidential, because there's no yes man or it's pretty damn easy to actually be a New York real estate business person. It's not hard to make money in that. He got damn lucky, but he's not that good of a businessman actually.
Also, saying that he's always pivoted and shit. Do you realize how many hours upon hours they have spent saying, how could we fuck up our own polls? And one of the explanations put forth was people were too afraid to openly state that they were voting for Trump, and they just waited till they got in the election booth when no one was looking and did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, they couldn't fathom how they were so wrong about Hillary winning. In fact, fucking foreign newspapers published saying, well, good morning, Mrs. President.
Oops.
And then whenever the hammer dropped. Now, my newspaper was printed before the election was finalized, and they said Hillary was probably going to win. Yeah. But the results were in it, and Trump wasn't out. That was the next day, because they printed it before the results came in. They were actually honest, looking at what the projection was as it was being printed. But then, the next day, it's like, good morning, Mr. President.
That proves one thing, and that proves that newspapers are dead.
The anticipation of the pivot was a regular feature of the campaign, which obviously never actually happened or ever will. What? No, they were surprised that they were getting different results as people were getting more and more emboldened to voice their opinion.
The pivot means that Trump will go to the left. That's what the pivot means.
Yes, he will be going to the left. We all know this.
He has actually already started to make kind of forays back into the left. Because remember, Trump used to be a Democrat and actually donated a substantial sum of money to someone named Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Yep. Nonetheless, the usual panels have been convened and an analysis of the election has gelled into a change message. which the people are just tired of the status quo and voted out the party in power. Yeah, that's what
That
happened.
is exactly what they did. Unfortunately, I don't think things are going to get much better for them. Will they learn? I don't know. We'll have to watch.
The media's normalization of Trump is complete. No, they demonized it. Now they're working to try to
What
normalize it.
website is this from?
This is from Salon.
Oh, that that figures. So now that we've lost, now we have to play the victim card. When we were fucking um, guaranteed the victory, we didn't have to play the victim card. Now that we've lost, we have to play the boohoo pity us card.
Yes.
That's basically. You were going to mention this on air, but we were talking about a list of Trump's scumbaggery, and Jim reminded me of Scotland.
Oh, yeah, where he tried to build a golf course and someone wouldn't sell out because it was a family-owned farm that had been in their family for generations.
Well, the golf course was supposed to be on a former wetland habitat, but it also had certain farms near it, and he tried to evict people by buying them out. And one man actually refused to. He refused to be bought out because, as he said, it was his family farm for generations. He also what also stopped him from doing it was Scotland's going more to wind turbine power, which actually apparently initiated an argument between him and Lord Alan Sugar on the UK Apprentice on Twitter. So see, even the scumbag Alan Sugar can't deal with the scumbag Trump, and so Trump decided not to build his golf course, meaning that how people resistance can solve things.
And the final part of this episode from Business Insider.
Business Insider.
Californians are calling for Cal exit from the U.S.
Oh God! Of course, I was the one who found this because I live in California. It's my home state, fortunately. I'm just thinking, if Californians left the U.S., what sort of draconian energy laws would they have now? They're already fucked. It's already the People's Republic of California. Yes, Cal exit, because Brexit solved everything.
Yep. A fringe political group in California wants to opt out of a Donald Trump presidency by leaving the union.
People always forget that, California, we had Jerry Brown, but who did we have last time? I am the government. That guy scared me more than Trump because he had the ear of Cheney, and there was a series were they going to try to change the Constitution to make him president.
Yeah.
Maybe
Donald Trump will see to that. That would be funny.
The debate was actually more serious than people thought it was too. Everyone thought it was, but there was some serious debate about that. And then of course, did you know he was actually appearing?
I just thought that this would be the funniest thing if Trump actually started arguing for such a thing. Just think about it. I want to build a wall to prevent immigrants. But if you've been here for 30 years, living here as a citizen, even if you weren't born here, you can run for president.
See, I was going to make it. I guess Schwarzenegger was in a movie a couple of years ago. What was it? Terminator, Retirement Home. I'll be back to the bathroom. Anyway.
Yes, California Independence Campaign aims to hold a referendum in 2018. That, if passed, would bring California one step closer to becoming an independent country.
This
is before we even know what the fuck.
I'm tempted to vote for it just for shits and giggles.
For all we know, fucking Trump could do things that actually benefit California above all else. Who knows?
The one thing you could do is go over to the California Air Resources Board and just slap the shit out of them. I hate their energy noise restrictions and fuel restrictions because it basically means you're not allowed to have fun with any sort of vehicle here anymore.
Are you saying that he should just go there and fuck them all to death?
Yes.
Fuck them all to death.
We had a dune buggy, and a used dune buggy, and they had something called a red sticker on it. Basically meant you can't run it during the summer. You have to run it in December when it's fucking cold. You can't run certain types of racing cars here because if you want to buy racing fuel, the forms you've got to fill, it's just these people.
Far-fetched as it may sound, the plan started gathering steam after Tuesday night's surprising presidential vote.
Actually, if I'm still here in California in 2018, I think I'll just jump off a bridge.
Yay. We gotta film that shit.
I hate California!
And it was only like 20 feet tall, and all you did was mangle your limbs, and you're still alive.
Oh, my
But
legs.
now you're a quadriplegic.
Oh, great. Yeah, now I'm blind and crippled. Jim, take me to the hospital.
You need euthanasia, son.
So do you,
Here,
though.
eat more acid.
Whoa.
That's it. That's my campaign right there. We got guy giving out free ponies and dental care. I'm going to give out free LSD and blast metal 24/7.
I'm voting for Jim. I want free ponies. I want a horse.
See, there's a political debate you gotta have. Do you want the drugs or the pony? The metal or the dental care? Oh yeah.
Yes.
And my solution to ISIS is what we're going to do is take all the fucking convicted pedophiles, rapists, and murderers, load them on a plane, then drop them from the sky in ISIS-controlled territory. That way they'll get a bunch of Americans, but the few who survive are just going to go completely psycho and start murdering everyone. This will make ISIS completely collapse.
Partly just from suicide. I can't take it anymore.
The movement has an impressive backer, Shervin Pishvar.
Bless you.
Yeah. A well-known angel investor who offered to bankroll the campaign to seed. It has the sixth largest economy in the world.
To secede.
Yeah.
Not to seed.
Yeah, secede. Oops. Oh, well.
Albums and memes.
Yep. That's the sixth largest economy in the world. California is more economically powerful than France.
We have you by the balls, you dumb cheese-eating.
And has a population larger than Poland.
Ah, you dumb Polacks. Well, they would have had...
So California has a stronger economy and a larger population than an entire country. Yet,
to be fair, Poland would have had more people if the Nazis hadn't,
Probably, yeah. That wasn't
yes,
a good point in history.
Plus, it is a country run by the Poles.
Yeah. We're more powerful than the frogs, okay? A state is more powerful than the frogs.
Point by point, California compares and competes with countries, not just the 49 other states. And you want them in charge of fucking U.S. politics. I say, good, let them secede.
You know what? That's offensive, Jim. But we want fucking Pennsylvania to secede, or to be in charge of politics. Pennsylvania has Philadelphia, which is like New York times 1,000, which is, a shithole, and Pittsburgh, which is also a shithole.
Yes, but they're smaller shitholes compared to fucking New York.
We have Los Angeles. You know who came from Los Angeles? Slayer. You have...
It's hard to argue that.
Admittedly, some very incantation and was that band Circle of Dead Children? But you know what? And Durketta. But we have Slayer.
What's going on?
And Durketta, by the way, wasn't even formed in Pennsylvania. It was formed in New York.
What's going on in the U.S. politically and culturally is so different from what's happening here. Marlene told the LA Times in 2015, I want California to be all it can, and our group feels the political and cultural connection to the U.S. is holding us back from our potential.
I don't see how it's not part of the U.S., but that's me, and I'm fucking on drugs. So, but California's a pretty good sized country. I mean, it would be. It would be, what? I'm tempted to vote for this just to see what happens and then leave just before it happens.
I voted yay. We're seceding, and now I'm leaving.
No, Jim and I'm going to go to Pennsylvania and rent a house with Jim.
Yeah, because that's America.
No, I just fucking.
Well, that's all I got for today.
That's all I got for the day. By the way, everyone, we don't know when we'll be back. It has something to do with Moron's schedule.
Yes.
We might be back on any day. Tuesday, yes. Wednesday, I don't know.
Well, we will be back.
Oh, yeah, we will. We have to be back. This is an important time in history.
Yes, much shit flinging to be done.
Yes, shit flinging. So you have been watching the Swine Brothers Show, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for the 14th of November, 2016. You can email us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter is Swine Brothers 666. For Shazzy Wezzy, for the Jim, our official political candidate, I am your host and the official propaganda minister, Joseph Lindemood. We'll see you next time.
Show me on this doll where the election touched you.